Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday, January 19th. We're already more than halfway through January. It just seems like yesterday was the new year. And it might be a new year in the NBA as the Atlanta Hawks have hit a season high 4-game win streak. First time this season. The Grizzlies matched a franchise record, 11 straight. We got lots of basketball to get to from last night's action. Definitely worth the talk here. Luca versus Trey is probably how we're going to open up. DeJounte, fitting in well. The Knicks, Nick again, though Brunson is making that All-Star game push. Hornets and Rockets in the game that nobody watched that you might have actually enjoyed. I'm telling you, the second half of the season is going to be phenomenal. Thank you for whomever always makes part of their day, part of our day here on Hoop Spaces. We wouldn't be here without you. So shout out to you. Point to you. Do me the favor, like and retweet the show card. There's a couple of other things up there. The Hoop Spaces review is back, your daily recap. Listen, if you don't watch every game, this is the newsletter for you. You literally pop it open, you read it in 8 minutes, and you know everything that happened. You get all the news and notes from links across the league. It's all there. They're sent directly to your email. Also, if you look up top with the poll question, who's the best team in the Western Conference? We'll get into that. Gift has got a good Celtics Warriors room tonight. And we'll be doing unpopular NBA opinions. I want to know what your unpopular NBA opinion is. So make sure you hop up here to tell me or write it in a reply. All right, I'll be back in 15. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday again. Welcome to Hoop Spaces, brought to you by slamgoods.com. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and hit this button now and get into the read. You can hear in my voice I have more energy today. Brought to you by Slam Goods. And I say that because actually I went to slamgoods.com this morning to see what stuff that they had that was new. And I'm telling you now, if you are a basketball fan, Slam Goods is where you're wanting to go. They put out the new premium slam shorts. And I'm telling you, very few things in life are as comfortable as a hoodie. Basketball shorts is on that short list. So make sure you head over there and pick up the premium shorts from slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15% off your entire purchase. I'll get that tweet up there shortly so you can go ahead and check it out for yourself because they got one that looks like a throwback from the Harlem Globetrotters / Washington Wizards / Bullets days. I'll get into that if you have any questions. It's pretty dope. I actually might pick that one up. Also, if you ever miss any of our show, we're brought to you by audiolabs.io. Head over to YouTube, and you can catch the entire show in its entirety unedited so you can get context. Because I know me, I don't like people using my words incorrectly out of context. So I don't want to do that to you. Shout out also to Playback TV. As I get a little bit more rested, we'll be back up on Playback. So if you ever want to watch a game with me, you'll be able to find me there. All right. I also put a tweet out this morning, man. Like, I don't know about you. One of the things that it doesn't annoy me. I don't get upset, but I get a huge emotional like hit in the solar plexus. Um, if I ever email somebody and I get the return out of office automated email, like my heart sinks. It just drops, right? I don't know if that's how you feel. I'm just telling you that's how I feel. I put out an email because I was expecting to get some news by probably yesterday, today at the latest. But the person that I would be getting the news from is out of the office. So all right. Hey, look, we got lots of basketball to get to. Please do me the favor. I know you always come in here. You hear me say it. Please like and retweet the show card. Engage in the show. And if you can't come up to talk, by all means, there's a chat box down in the bottom. Go ahead and get in there, and we can keep this discussion going. Lots of women's basketball, lots of men's basketball, and lots of NBA basketball. So let's go ahead, get in to the score. We'll start with the NCAA women's teams. Iowa beat Michigan State 84-81. I watched this game. I am telling you now, Caitlin Clark again, the truth. 26-9 and 11. The closest thing probably to a complete player coming out of the draft, not this draft, next draft. Oklahoma beats TCU 93-66. Iowa State beats Oklahoma State 69-64. Indiana beats Illinois. Indiana is a top six team, 83-72. They are 17-1. I have now seen them live three times. And I'm telling you now, I just feel so bad for them because they're so good and they still have zero shot against South Carolina. Zero. Maybe they beat Stanford and UConn. That is a possibility. I just don't see them beating South Carolina. And then there was one upset last night. University of Texas Lady Longhorns lose to Texas Tech 68-64. And this pretty much nails Texas out of the top 25. This is now twice this season. I don't expect them to get back in. And quite honestly, it's been a very disappointing year for the Lady Longhorns. On the men's side, upsets galore, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, we're heading into what is considered the serious part of men's basketball. We got like 6 weeks left before we really need to get ready for the tournament, and there is like no clear favorite other than the University of Houston. Last night, DePaul upsets Xavier, and what made this even more egregious is DePaul was 8-10, and their best players are pretty much done. And they end up coming back at the end of the first half to take a lead, hold on to the lead against Xavier 73-72. Xavier likely to fall the top 10. Virginia Tech tries to upset Virginia. Virginia wins 78-68 in one of the most underrated arenas, the John Paul Jones Arena. If you've never been to the University of Virginia campus, you should check out the John Paul Jones Arena. It's a unique setup. TCU falls to West Virginia in another upset, 74-65. TCU, top 15 team, ranked 14th. Seton Hall upsets the Evil Empire, UConn, 67-66. This is UConn's second loss this week. I expect them to drop into the 20s. Auburn dominates LSU, 67-49. Marquette beats Providence in the battle of top 20s. That's 22-20, 83-75. And Missouri upsets Arkansas 79-76. We spoke yesterday briefly about their freshman Smith. It's just a shame he's not playing. Special talent. Maybe he comes out, maybe not. Maybe we'll see him next year so he can help build up his draft resume. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are your college scores. If you want to come on up, now's the time to go ahead and come on up and give us our good mornings. Shout out, though, first to Jose. who had another episode of 77 Spaces with Rolo. I was able to listen in for like the first 25 minutes. And let me tell you, this sometimes isn't easy, especially if you're in a lull. Your team is not performing well, and yet you still have to come out and talk about it. He did a great job, a phenomenal job hosting the recap from the Friday or Saturday night's game, and then got into last night's marquee matchup of Trey Young versus Luka Doncic. Unfortunately, the Mavs, they fell short. But let me give Jose here a round of applause because I also had a couple of DMs that said, "Hey, I wish you could come up on stage because I have you some questions." But man, Jose kills it all the time, and he didn't get those DMs because I asked if I could share them, and the people said they'd rather not. But shout out to Jose because I mean it's not easy. It really is not easy. All right, if you want to come up, I see Bakari with his hand. I'll bring Bakari up because he's probably skipping class right now, lowering his college GPA. Bakari, your Celtics play tonight, and tonight's marquee matchup and rematch of the finals with the Celtics and Warriors. I hope you are ready for a rigorous game because the Warriors say they are ready to play, come back, and surge to the top of the West, at least according to some Warriors fans here on Twitter. Shout out to you, Dubs fans. Y'all are awesome. Bakari, good morning.
Good morning. First of all, I have to clarify something. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not skipping class. I don't have a class today, but
All right. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
you've seen me lately. Haven't been joining. Obviously I am.
I, I'm
Semester
just
started,
I'm just
and
keeping accountability. I got to keep this GPA up. We got to make sure that you can get a job to clear out any student loans you may have. Like
oh
I'm
no,
just,
no.
yeah, I'm trying to set you up for success. That's all.
I don't know anything about student loans. I just
Good.
don't. Yeah, I don't
You
know
don't
about that.
want to. You
Yeah,
don't want to. They're not cool. I
they're
don't either. I don't either. Like my cousin hates me for this. She has still like I'm 40. She's 37. She still has like 30 plus grand to pay off. And I'm sitting here like,
damn 30 grand.
yo, like she became a veterinarian scientist doctor. Like that's a lot of school.
I mean,
Like,
that is kind of true, yeah. But 30, like,
yo.
that's a lot of money, man. That is a lot. It's like a
Hey,
new car.
look, I am not lying. A lot of people don't like this point of view. We'll get into other unpopular opinions. But student loans are basically a progressive tax on future middle class earners.
And the thing is, you can't get rid of them. It's impossible to get rid of them. Like you can get rid of, like you can go bankrupt. Let's say you go bankrupt, like chapter like 7 or something like that. I don't really know. But like you can get rid of those. You cannot get rid of student loan debt. They can liquefy all your assets if you go in bankruptcy. But you
Yeah, for most of them, yes, you're correct.
but you can't
Some
get rid of student
some you
loans.
can.
That's
Well,
crazy.
some you can if you get private ones.
Oh.
It's the ones that are federally backed or go through there's some even states like California and Texas have something similar if you don't want to do FAFSA.
Oh.
And you can, but you're going to a state school that got something similar. Those ones, yeah, they you can't get rid of them. If you go to your bank or your credit union and say, I want, this loan, yeah, absolutely you could.
Mm.
Like that, but you pay a higher percentage. So like they get their
Oh.
money up front. So yeah. Hey, look, if you don't know finance like that, make sure you find somebody in your family that does, or open up a book because I'm telling you now, like my son is 9. I've already planned out his entire college career through 24 because it
W
ain't
man,
cheap.
bro. W dad.
Uh,
That's
yeah,
that's
appreciate it.
why you are who you are. That's like I respect you, man.
Yeah, like it ain't cheap,
It
man.
ain't cheap. They're
We
right.
we we talked about this yesterday when we were driving to swimming practice because he kind of got in trouble for saying a little white lie, and I'm like, don't do anything dumb like that. It was like, hey, my goal in life is to set you up for success, and in order to do that, I've already told myself and convinced myself I am going to pay essentially $200,000 for your education before you even go to college.
Mm.
Right? So like you will never in your life be able to say that I wasn't there to try to put you in a position to succeed. The success can't come from me, son. It has to come from you. My son is 9. He totally understands this. We have these philosophical convos all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hey, look, there you go. A little bit of life talk with Bakari. Kind of like that segment. That's pretty dope. Makes me feel young too because I'm an old 40. Like don't listen to the liars. People will tell you 40 isn't old. That is complete bullshit. Like if you feel old, you are old and I feel
Mm.
old. Right? Like I grew up and Evan understands that. Shout out Evan Moore. We're going to get ready to talk over the weekend so we can get him aboard with writing. So ZK Johnson. I grew up with an analog joystick. That was my very first controller.
Like that was my first
Okay.
controller too, though. Like,
Yeah, but it was a hand me down for you.
oh, I mean, I guess
Yeah,
I did.
exactly. Exactly. Like my mom passed away. If y'all follow the show, this last 2 years ago, horrible, but that's life. But my grandmother passed, years before. But my grandmother was into video games because I got her into video games when I was a kid. Her Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all that stuff. My mother kept it, and it's sitting here. I can't get my son to play it because it has an analog controller because he's used to Minecraft on the tablet. What a world we live in.
Minecraft is elite, though. I'm gonna be honest.
No, it's not.
It's
It's not.
it's
It's
really good.
absolutely
It's really
horrible.
good.
Minecraft is like the Los Angeles Lakers of this year's NBA.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
All right. Micah, good morning.
Good morning to you, Chris. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm over here. I'm about to get accosted by a whole bunch of young people who play Minecraft or World of Warcraft, and I'm sitting here like, yo, that ain't jack. That's nothing.
Okay. All right. Let me touch on both of those. Both of them overrated. And the other thing that you said, look, man, I just hit 37 and I'm starting to feel old. So there you go. Pretty close to hitting 38, man. I'm starting to feel old. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but see, there's a difference, right? My oldness, I'm driving and in the car, the DJ on the radio says Madonna is getting ready to do a world tour. My son is like, "Who's Madonna?"
Oh God.
Right?
But
Like,
yeah, yeah, it's a good morning. Even though my Mavs can't stop a cold, so I think some of my fellow Mavs fans they need to think about that because our offense is pretty good, but they can't stop nothing. So just think about that when you're out here shaking ass for the likes of Zach Levine. Just saying. But that's all I got for right now.
all right, cool. We'll go down into the big box or the little box. I don't know exactly what to call it. It's the box of the people who cannot come up to speak because they either driving like TJ. What up, TJ? Justin Patton is here in the building. You got his breakdowns in here. He's also got the Madonna Vogue. Funny story about Madonna. Um, she and my mother's sister were friends in high school in Michigan. They went to high school together. Um, Madonna liked black people then too. Let me just put it that way.
Is that like a
um,
reference to um the Last Dance, like Dennis Rodman stuff? Is that like
Look, let's just put it this way. Madonna's had a very colorful life. Man, I am really on fire today. I'm gonna give myself a point for that one. Good setup, Akari. You get a point for the assist. Jay the Wakandan tech support, or actually now it's Jay the Wakandan Valid Victorian, who does that essentially on purpose because he knows that I will always attempt the alliteration because it really it eludes many people. Jay, good morning.
Good morning, man. That was a joke. If you're not in the HBCU sports spaces, it's a different world. And somebody was talking about recruitment at HBCUs and how, you know, in their minds, kids didn't, with smart kids, Ivy League opportunities, all that stuff, didn't choose HBCUs. And the way they decided to spell the valedictorian was valid Victorian. And I was like, well, that's hilarious. And so I just kind of rolled with it. Um, so that's the backstory behind that.
Although
Uh,
that's changing
oh
because
yeah.
now like my cousin is go. I don't. I told him to go to Howard. Dude chose Bowie State out of all places, and I've lived there. This is why I'm telling him to go to Howard. But he went for 2 years. Now he's putting in apps for Columbia, NYU, because like his whole plan was he wanted an HBCU experience, but he didn't want a major campus, but he wanted to be close to other major campuses. He didn't want to live, more than 300 miles away from home. But then he wanted to go to New York because he wanted the New York experience. And like when I was talking to him, like he said, like they're like half of his class is are like that mind. Like they're going for the HBCU experience now, but then they're leaving to go to 4 years. Well, what do you think about that? Quote
Uh,
traditional 4 years.
uh, that's that's interesting. Because you get the experience, but then you don't get to be a part of the alumni pool. And I get it. Like if you're trying to be a professional in certain industries, then yes, having Columbia on your resume is better than an HBCU in certain aspects. But in other aspects, it's better to be an HBCU alum because that network is not like any other and it looks out for you. Um, and then the culture shock and the I don't know, like that's a very interesting way to look at life. It's kind of like people who say I want a starter marriage because they like they're because their logic is well the divorce rate is 50% anyway, right? So I want a starter marriage. I want to see what it's like. So I'm gonna get married at like 22, divorced by 30, and then we'll figure it out, right? To me, is that kind of thing where it's like I understand the input of the information. I don't understand the output of you deciding I am going to do this because of the information. Um,
I get that. I thought it was brilliant. In terms of saving money, right? Like,
well, yeah, and see, that's the other aspect of it is the financial thing
yeah,
of
Bowie State is cheap compared
yes,
to yeah.
yes, yeah, and the thing is, it depends on what they want to do. So, for example, I would say if you're trying to save money, but you're also trying to be close from home, and he wants to be in the New York area, HBCU like Lincoln, which is it's more of a satellite outside of Philadelphia than New York. But if you can make it to Philly, you can make it to New York. Like New York is not that far. I don't know if that fits the close to home thing, but like Lincoln University, great HBCU, you're outside of Philly, and so what I suggest to people, if you want to save money, get a scholarship to a HBCU or go to a HBCU, go ahead and get your degree, right? Then, if you knock out your undergrad, they will pay you to go to grad school because you're a minority, especially if you're in the STEM field. So, or if you want to do law. And the other thing about law is, truth be told, if you go to the Thurgood School of Law in Houston, if you go to Howard Law, I think there's a HBC law firm in Atlanta. I think it's, but I don't know who it's connected to. I don't know if it's Clark. I want to say that's correct. I don't know. The networking of black lawyers that you'll have is far more substantial than going to Columbia because, like, you go to Columbia, yeah, you're going to know a lot of hedge fund managers' kids, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they want you to hang with them. And that's the risk you're taking when you go to a Princeton or whatever. It's like any choice in life. There are no perfect answers. There's no perfect path. It's about what you know, who you know, and how well you network. And 90% of jobs, you have to be a people person of some sort. And so if you can manage relationships, you'll be fine. But financially, in my mind, it makes more sense. Go to the HBCU, get your degree, knock out your tests, then go to grad school for free.
Yeah, I don't.
And
He
then you get,
doesn't.
the best of both worlds. So you're
He doesn't need to
HBCU
do.
alone.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do the full 4 years. Like he graduated with an international bachelorette, so like
Oh, okay,
he's already
yeah,
a year and a half in to his college credits, I think, because he also did
yeah.
a summer semester at Marion, which is one of the local universities in
Right,
Indy.
right, right. Right, right. Yeah, no, so no, I would still get the degree. Like it won't take him 4 years because he's done the IB program and all that stuff. It won't take him 4 years. Just get the degree. And if he really wants to be a G about it and wants to zoom out of there, just go to both sessions of summer school. Just say, listen, I'm gonna lock down my life for 2.5 years. And so it's gonna like going to community college. I'm gonna get a 4 year degree in 2.5, and then you'll be so young with a 4 year degree. If you need a break to decompress and take a year off, you can do that. Get some work experience. Your test scores are valid for like a year. Apply, get in for free, you know, and then live your life. And then you're still in
Yeah.
grad school a year early.
I don't know what beyond the fact of that he wants to do an HBCU experience and then go to Columbia or NYU. He's artistic. Let me just put it that way. Yeah. All right, let's move on. If you're down below and you want to come on up, now is a great time to come up. There's plenty of people who are here though that are here every day. I want to say what's up to them. Shout out to Warren, Breeze, Dip, Just 30, Anthony Nightingale, CT Pittman, Jordan, who is happy that his Hawks are actually winning. Four straight. I mean, it took half the season, but four straight. Sad Nets is in the building. Julian is in the building. Santa Rosa is here. Tony Vega in the building. If you need some Lakers talk, but you can't make the late night Lakers show, make sure you hit up Tony Vega. He does some great work. Maybe one day we'll bring his great work here because I think it's dope, and that's what I do. I like to talk with dope people about basketball. He's pretty good. E.K. Johnson in the building, and much like Evan, he will be joining us next week to introduce his writing covering women's and men's college basketball. So make sure you check him out as well. And a big shout out to Barry. I'm putting this tweet out because Barry has highlighted something, and I'm actually starting to wonder if Barry is really Ryan in disguise. Um, I do a very bad job of self promotion, right? Even a couple of like actual professional producers who like what I do and stuff have said this. It's like you got to put yourself out more in terms of like getting subscribers and all this stuff. So shout out to Barry MET. He said, "Hey, how do I become a supporter? A monthly supporter." I forget to do this, so I'm doing it now. I put the tweet out. I'll get it up here in the jumbotron. The Slam Goods tweets up there right now. So make sure you check that out. If you haven't yet, and you have the ability to, or you really want to actually help us continue to grow, you can actually support us by becoming a quote subscriber. I like to use the word supporter over on Substack. Right, you already get the newsletter for free. I'm not going to charge for the newsletter, but if you want to help us continue to grow, you can head over there and become a subscriber. There's a monthly $5 amount you could choose, an annual $50 a year you can choose. If you are a big buck person, if you actually have extra bread and you don't mind sharing, you can even elect to be a founding member supporter, which is like $200. Like think of this like NPR, like they offer you, hey, if you do this much, you get this. If you do a founding member, you will be part of a video series that we'll have here for Hoop Spaces. And then there's the none. It's the free. Look, if you haven't done that, do that. Like that counts too. You don't pay any money. You get the newsletter, and I at least have you as a subscriber. So when I'm able to sit down and maybe negotiate with another entity, it helps, right? So that's the way that you can help me. Shout out to Barry for reminding me. Point to him. There. All right. JF Cake is here. We'll say good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Chris. Yeah, first things first, if it's free, it's always a good thing. Second thing, what a game last night, Chris. If you listen to my Heat and Five reviews and recaps, sponsored by HoopSpaces, and Justin's doing a great job with my videos. If you listen to me, you would understand what happens when you don't have your two superstars in the lineup, with Giannis and Chris Middleton being out. Kind of give up a lot of things, including the W. And this is the thing that we're looking at moving on into the let me not say New Orleans, but New Orleans series. Look, without Bi and without Zion, I don't know if CJ can overcome as good as people say that he is. The good thing about this game, even though that the stars weren't playing, is that Spoelstra actually has film now on everybody else that's not Zion or Bi, and I think we have plenty of film for Zion and Bi to see what they're going to do. So in a series like this, I guess Trey Murphy, he did his thing, but it was a comfortable 20-point lead throughout the whole game. To the point, Chris, where I was able to go to sleep early. I went to bed by third quarter. Not even gonna lie. After Gabe Vincent hit that buzzer beater in third quarter, I said, "Yeah, there's no way they're gonna catch back up." End up winning by 24 points. I think what's happening right now is that we saw Martin come back, and what he did last night definitely raised his trade value. And we also saw Orlando Robinson getting some really good minutes, other than Dedmon, and he's actually been producing a lot better. Um, Oladipo's still doing his thing. Tyler Hero's still doing his thing. And actually, I was wrong, Chris. Kyle Lowry came back last night, and we did get a W with Kyle Lowry in the lineup. He had a couple crucial 3 points, but it's tough, Chris, because when the team is too top heavy, like say the New Orleans Pelicans, or I don't even say New Orleans Pelicans, but I'll say like the Milwaukee Bucks, it's kind of hard to see what the rest of your team's going to be like. And I understand Trey Murphy's a good player, and I understand they got Jose Alvarado, and they got man, that's really it. Kind of like I
What?
mean, like, to be honest with you, Chris, it's
Wow.
like nothing really like stood out from last night to
Wow.
me. I'm just saying.
You should be happy that Rels Pels is not here. Her heart would be breaking right now. Like that was
I ain't
mean.
trying to be mean, Chris, but what I'm saying is this team is still too young, and for them to have CJ as a veteran presence, he is a good veteran presence, but I don't know if it's sufficient enough for them to continue this winning. Because what's happening right now is I think you're asking too much for the other players, compared to if you were to have BR or Zion on. Now with BI and Zion on, that's a completely different team. So I'm gonna accept every win for what it is. I don't care if your superstar plays or not. A win's a win. It helps us out. Now we're in six. Knicks are below us, and it looks like the universe is going back to normal, Chris.
All right, the universe is going back to normal, and you know what? Hawks fans would agree with that as well, as they've now won four straight.
That was
Before we get
dirty.
into what's
That
up?
was a dirty one, Chris.
That was what are you talking about? That was
Because
good. That was
we just
smooth.
suffered the same type of loss like against Atlanta is the same type of beatdown we gave New Orleans. So I was still kind of
I'm
hurt
just
though.
saying but it was smooth though. That was a really good transition. It's really good. All right. Okay. So to fix this, we'll do shout outs again real quick. Evan Townsend, Project Spurs, is in the building. Justin Patton, JP the franchise, our YouTube coordinator, is in the building. Warren from day one, also in the building. And then Jay is here. She put up attraction rather than promotion. I've bought a hoodie and subscribed all by just loving the channel. And that is why I say thank you. That validation more so means more to me than the spending of the money, because honestly that's why we're here. I just felt something was missing, and I'm happy and gratified that others feel the same way. So thank you, Jack, from me to you. All right, let's get into it. Full slate of games last night, and we'll open up with the New York Knicks nicking once again, 116-105. They lose to the Washington Wizards. Kyle Kuzma, 27, 13, and 7 assists, putting him, pretty much as the preeminent trade piece that may or may not be available. It's really weird in Washington. They come out saying that they're getting ready to shop Rui Hachimura, and like most of the league is saying, we don't care. We want Kyle Kuzma. Now, that's not saying they wouldn't trade for Rui. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But most teams, when they look at Washington, want Kuzma. Perfect salary at 13 million means he's easily tradable to top contending teams. He gives you a player who has versatility, who can play the 3 or the 4. He can stretch the floor. He rebounds and he passes. Shout out to Kyle Kuzma, who a lot of people wrote off after he left New Orleans. The Knicks, however, they're back to their Nicky ways. They're kind of funky right now. Jalen Brunson, 32 points, not enough assists, only 4. Didn't really seem too interested in getting a lot of his teammates involved. But then with the shooting that they had last night, I don't particularly blame him. Julius Randle, 6 for 17. RJ Barrett, 9 for 21. They combined for 35 points. 15 rebounds with Julius Randle, though. Mitchell Robinson injured, 9 minutes, 2 blocks, 2 boards, didn't come back for the remainder of the game. And that forced Tom Thibodeau to expand his rotation. And what did we see? A whole bunch of rusty nothing. Jericho Sims, 21 minutes, 2 points, 6 fouls. 6 really, 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 really bad fouls. Isaiah Hartenstein, 13 minutes, nothing. 4 points, 2 for 6. Miles McBride got 11 minutes of nothing. Obi Toppin had 14 minutes of nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only player off the bench for the Knicks last night that did something warranted to speak about was Emmanuel Quickly, who put up 18 points and 5 rebounds. His name kind of cooling off in the trade rumor mill, but could also be easily moved. Yesterday, ramp up around Cam Reddish happened as the Knicks seemed destined to move him. There's been reports that the Lakers, the Bucks, and a couple of other teams are interested. If you haven't read the review yet, if you scroll all the way down at the bottom, you'll see a link. The link will go to a story. So that way, when you read the review, not only do you get the recaps, you can actually go to where the news is and not have to worry about missing out on anything. Up on stage, we will go to Hader after we get through the rest of these scores here because the Wizards are his team. The Hawks beat the Mavericks 131-22. DeJounte Murray, 30 and 17. Trae Young, 18 and 12. Christian Wood, 22 and 9. Well, Luka Doncic was doing Luka things. And to all those who don't understand when people say get Luka help, it's not the quality of player necessarily. It's the position that they are placed in, because sometimes a different coach can actually do better things with the same ingredients on hand. And I think that actually might be more warranted than saying he needs help, because if you look at what Jalen Brunson is doing, if you look at Kristaps Porzingis is doing, he's had high talented caliber players. The issue seems to be that they're not in the position to really be effective with Luka, which is not a Luka thing. That's a coaching thing. Hornets beat the Rockets in probably the most entertaining game that you didn't need to watch. And I say that because you didn't need to watch it, because it's the Hornets and Rockets. 122-117. Jalen Green on fire, though. I actually caught that. This is why the Rockets will always be in trouble, because Jalen Green will have a night like last night where he drops 41 points and looks amazing. And then they're going to err on that as opposed to saying Alperen Sengun, who once again had another fantastic game, should be the principal offense on that. Terry Rozier stepping up, leading the Hornets to victory in the second half, 26.6 assists. LaMelo Ball out with another injury on the same ankle. That is number 3 this season. And before that, at halftime, I basically had a conversation where I just openly admitted, look, Lonzo Ball's regressed. And I'm telling you now, my James Borrego agenda is going to be nasty for you Hornets fans, because apparently the only coach who could get through to him was James Borrego. If you go back and look what Lonzo Ball's done since he's been on the court, when he's healthy, his shot has regressed, his decision-making has regressed, his energy has regressed. It's just bad optics. Now, maybe there's something going on that we don't know about. That's what I'm going to err on. But I can tell you this right now. Mitch Kupchak, Clifford, Steve, ain't looking good. And Steve Clifford, I think, could be out because I think Kupchak is gone. The Grizzlies come back in the fourth quarter. to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. Shout out to the most underrated big man in the game, Steven Adams. We'll get into that a little bit later with unpopular opinions. 115, 114. Darius Garland, a fantastic game. 24 points, 14 assists, just not enough. Desmond Bain, 25. John Morant, 26, but it was off of a miss that Steven Adams hit the game-winning tip-in with 55 seconds remaining. Great defense after that. Heat beat the Pelicans, and they drummed them in NOLA, 124-98. So bad that 6 of the 12 needed a little bit of extra time to relax because, my word, bad game. Very bad. 124-98. Bam Adebayo, he did whatever he wanted and didn't even need the time to do it. 26-8, and then he got rest. Jimmy Butler, only 27 minutes. He got rest. If Coach Spo can rest Bam and Jimmy, you know it's bad for the other team. CJ McCollum, 21 points and a whole lot of nothing from the majority of the game. Pacers fall to the Thunder without Tyrese Halliburton. This is the slide that all the prognosticators said that the Pacers would go on. I would like to point out they're only on this slide because, one Mr. Tyrese Halliburton is injured with an ankle injury and an elbow or shoulder elbow injury. It is what it is. Andrew Nembhard is a fantastic rookie. He's not an impactful player to the caliber of Tyrese Halliburton yet. And without Tyrese, that offense stalled. It was so bad, Rick Carlisle pulled Buddy Hield and didn't put him back in the game. Lou Dort, career high, 11 rebounds. He had 22 points. Isaiah Joe tied a career high in three-point mades with 7. And Kenrick Williams, career high with 11 assists. The Thunder, one game from 500. Nobody is more happier than Fan Suzuki Bleacher Mob, who's going to say SGA for MVP. We'll get there. Utah waxes the Clippers, and I don't care any longer. I don't care. PG and Kawhi didn't play. I don't care any longer. I don't know what the Clippers are doing. The John Wall, hey, he's going to start in the second half of the season, hasn't come to fruition. They can't get PG and Kawhi on the floor together for more than 2 games at a time. They are 1 game below 500. And once again, I get to tell people Ty Lue does not have the greatness of Doc Rivers.
Don't step on my unpopular take, Chris. That's all I have to say.
When are you going to end your Doc Rivers agenda, man?
It's not an agenda, Bakari.
It's propaganda. It's blasphemy.
It is not a propaganda. It's not a ploy. It's not a troll. It's the truth. It's the truth.
I would like to link. I'm gonna actually when we're done with the show, right? I'm gonna send you a video, from a good buddy of mine that made a video on Doc Rivers, his history. All
I know is if they don't point out that he has 100 wins and is the 4th winningest NBA playoff coach in history, then it's an incomplete video.
No, it brings out the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, yeah, that doesn't mean he isn't great. Jose, what's up, man? Your hand's up. I got a couple more games. You got something you want to add in? And he popped out. All right. Nuggets beat the Timberwolves 122-118. Jokic supremacy. I gave you the big board. I told you Jokic was number 1. I got flack from everybody. Tatum fans yelled at me. Luka fans yelled at me. LeBron fans, why isn't he higher up on the list? Let me tell you the truth. It doesn't matter. Okay? It is Jokic's award to lose. Okay? Like, it really should be right now named the Nikola Jokic Award. 31 points, 11 boards, 13 assists. Now the all-time leader in assists, passing Alex English in almost 300 fewer games played. The man went 12 for 20, 7 for 7 from the line. Like, what more do you want? What more can he do to just say, you know what, here's the award? Because I'm getting tired of it. The Minnesota Timberwolves are bad. There you go. The Kings like the beam in what was once the proud Staples Center, which is now nothing more than the crypt for mediocre play from the Lakers. If you are a Lakers fan, if you are a real Lakers fan, I feel for you. it was painful to watch this morning to see that LeBron James can put up a stat line of 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists and have the starting unit be outscored by the bench. Wayne Gabriel was better than any player not named LeBron James for the Los Angeles Lakers. Kendrick Nunn was better than any player not named LeBron James for the Los Angeles Lakers. If you are a real Lakers fan, I feel bad for you. If you are a LeBron stan, I am laughing in your face. I am laughing beside you. I'm laughing behind you because it's hilarious. Like, he chose this path and he's got to eat this. Like, I don't care if he doesn't like losing. You chose it. Get over it. Jose, leader of 77 Spaces, will speak on it. Rolo and Javs, this is his sister. Good morning.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
Chris. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm feeling good. Like, I got to watch a whole bunch of people cry that the Lakers were treated unfairly when a whole bunch of Sacramento Kings fans who went to LA started saying light the beam.
You know
It
what's
was
funny?
hilarious.
If you haven't checked out the Basketball Illuminati podcast, they actually went over the Lakers officiating and said that most games that are called for the Lakers, they mostly get a clean like crew. They basically get playoff refereeing throughout the season, and since they're on national TV a lot, they put the best ref cast out there. So for LeBron to kind of be petty about this in a way where he's calling out refereeing and wants fair calls is kind of asinine to me. But that's not the reason why I'm up here. The reason why I'm up here is to talk about the Mavs game, which the Mavs lost. You know what's funny, Chris, is that the Mavs went 52% from the field, but Atlanta Hawks went 57% from the field. You want to know another stat? The Atlanta Hawks had eight players in double figures, as opposed to the Mavericks, four players in in double figures. Also, I felt like the Mavs got dominated in the paint, despite the box score saying that it was pretty well rounded in terms of points in the paint. And I was just like, wow, we actually was on par with the Atlanta Hawks, but just the fact that they were able to shoot 57% from the field is just a testament to our defense, which I thought would take a slight bump in the net defensive rating just because we had Dorian Finney-Smith and Josh Green back, but it's clear that the Mavs need a big man. Maxi Kleber probably not coming back until maybe March, April, maybe in that like timeline, but the Mavs desperately need some size. And something that I've been seeing float around is that the Mavs are probably looking at Noel from the Pistons. I'm like, I mean, I guess as long as it's at a cheap cost, I need a big man. I've been saying it every time I come up on the space, and even in 77 spaces, the Mavs need a legitimate big man. I need the Mavs to get their shit together when it comes to getting a real big man on this team. Not everybody's gonna be this spot up 7 foot shooter or even a 6'11 shooter, and then still be able to go out and do the dirty work inside the paint. Especially if that guy is only 200 and maybe 20 pounds. That's just not gonna be realistic. They could.
Well, you ain't talking about Christian Wood
Uh,
because he ain't no 220. He's like
I thought he was
205.
like 215.
Nah, yo, he's no way, bro.
Yeah,
He's
but
light.
my point still stands. I still need a big man who's more than 220, and then also, sometimes what fans get away from is that yes, the NBA is going somewhat positionless, but you still need some of these traditional players on your team. You still need that microwave guy off the bench to be your six-man player. You still need a traditional point guard to set up your offense. You still need a center to be able to go out and do the dirty work and get your rebounds and just be a body that's just gonna wreck the opposing player. on the offensive side. But I'll give props to DeJounte Murray because I said it in 77 Spaces last night that he was going to be the X factor, that he was going to be just a hound on the defensive end, and he was going to play the passing lanes. And to see him do exactly what I had said he was going to do, it was amazing. And then also I said Clint Capella was going to be the X factor as well. And sure enough, I mean, the Hawks took the lead going into the fourth on a transition fast break alley oop to Clint Capella, which had the score 98-97. I'm just like, yeah, I don't think we're the Mavs are coming out with a W. And even then, a 7 point game into the fourth with 7 minutes left, and then you got 4 points and maybe 4 minutes left to go, and you just are forcing up dumb shots. Luca took damn near a half court three, and Dorian Finney-Smith was luckily there to elevate and put the put back in. But man, I really don't think Jason Mid is drawing up plays. I think he goes out there and says, Luca, Cook, you're one of the best offensive players in the game. You're going to generate some of these open shots, so go out there and do it. You got it. Everybody else, you just wait for Luca to make that play, and we'll win this game. And that's just not what happened.
It's gonna be rough for Dallas. Like the perfect player for them, they will not be able to get because Demontis Sabonis is going to need, consistent high level backup play, and that's Rashawn Holmes. That's just it's that it would have been perfect, but unfortunately, with the avulsion fracture, I'm not likely seeing Rashawn being moved. Maybe Metu, which is their third big. But here's a list of some available bigs that we all know to be available. Are you ready? Whether they are free agents or available for trade. This is not a good list. Gorgie Dang is a free agent. He is available. Goga Batadze is available. Bruno Fernando is available. And Isaiah Roby is available. We got Shako in the building. Another Mavs fan will go to him. I just gave you 4 names. I'll let you get in there. Jose will come in right after you to clean it up. We'll go around the room for other people. Starts with Micah, JF, Jada Wakanda, and Hayden. And then we'll move to some Wizards and Knicks so we can get some victorious DC talk because the Wizards actually did something good. Shako, good morning. It's good to hear from you.
Good morning, my brother. How you been?
I'm well now. I've been bad. It was hard to breathe for a while, but we
It
here.
sucks to hear. I recently hired this personal trainer because I've been in the gym. I've dropped like maybe
Yeah.
close to 28 pounds, and I felt a little bit stagnant. So I hired this personal trainer, but he's working my ass off, and I think he's trying to injure me. So I'm just gonna let him go. And maybe
Wow.
Mark Cuban should do something about Jason Kidd and do the same thing because he should just let him go because it's not working out. Um, the problem we have here is with the mobs is I don't see no end in sight. We don't have a specific blueprint of what needs to be done. Like we always say, we need this kind of player, we need this kind of team, we need this kind of center, we need this kind of wing. But it's just the plans are all over the place. When in actuality, we just really need good players. And it's ridiculous because when you have Spencer, Wood, and Luke on the floor at the same time, the defense is going to be ass. And then you have someone like Dorian Finney-Smith, who, in my opinion, isn't the greatest man-to-man defender, but a great team defender. Then you have Josh Green, who just goes out there with this very chaotic energy, but same way. Don't see him as the perfect man-to-man defender, but helps to cover up mistakes made by those 3 previous names called. But I digress. Um, Dorian Finney-Smith first day back on the job, he played like 35 minutes. Josh Green 20 minutes. This is the thing with Jason Kidd. The rotations are clunky. Nothing like they started Christian Wood on the side of Dwight Powell, which is nonsensical to me. Both cannot play defense. Good morning, and it just doesn't work right now. So what they need to do is continuously leave Christian Wood at the 5 and put some more defenders in there. But then when you do that, what you do is you sacrifice the offense. for more defense. So, like I said, it isn't a blueprint in sight. So at this point, I don't know where do we go from here.
I hear it in your voice too. So I want to make sure that I give you some extra names to make you feel even worse. Marko Simonovic is available from Chicago. Niemis Queta is available from Sacramento. Tony Bradley, the immortal University of North Carolina alum. Tony Bradley available from Chicago.
You know what? They're
Uh,
all
yeah,
better than
yeah.
JaVale McGee, so sign me up.
Jose, come on in here. You got some names. You got some more names. Shaco gave another great breakdown. We'll get your thoughts, and we'll go to Micah, JFK, Jay, then Hayden, then we'll talk some Wizards ball. Because I'm telling you now, the Wizards, believe it or not, hold other teams' destiny in their hands with what they do this trade season. Jose, go ahead.
Hassan Whiteside. Uh, I would rather have him right now. But also like this is why you have your scouts. This is why you have a real front office, because there's some two-way guys right now that you could possibly looking at who probably are still quoted as raw, a prospect, whatnot. Why not get those guys in here and say, hey, look, we have a position open, we have an open spot on the roster. I don't think we're gonna elevate McKinley right now. We'll just keep him in a two-way position, and we'll get one of you guys, one of you big men on this roster, non-guaranteed contract, but you get to play out the rest of the year and see how your game develops as a center for the Mavericks. You know, at least that's what a competent front office does. Am I right on that, Chris?
I would think so.
But instead you have Mark Cuban who's probably broke, and I heard the American Airlines Center was hot last night, that people were complaining about the AC being broke, and it's just more realization that Mark Cuban is broke, and with this lawsuit that's coming up that he has to deal with, makes me wonder how much he's penny pinching around the Mavs locker room right now, and just trying to say, I'm not paying you, I'm not paying you. Uh, we have you for 3 years, JaVale. I have to pay you. Uh, I think and this is not me trying to be optimistic about the Mavericks. This is just me saying, what I've been saying about the Mavericks in terms of their offense is that their 3-point variance is going to be better. Maybe for defensive purposes, you have Luca, Josh Green, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, and Christian Wood all out there as your starting five. Coming off your bench, you have Spencer, you have THJ, you have maybe Frank Ntilikina, Davis Bertans. Man, that sounds fucking horrid. And then you have Dwight Powell. That I don't know. You're gonna have to sacrifice on either side. But like I said, me personally, I'd be scouring the G League right now to see if I find a project big that I want to bring into the organization and just say, hey, you get the final roster spot. We're just gonna ride it out with you for the rest of the season.
All right. Just want to let every Mavericks fan know that Boogie Cousins is still available. We'll go to Micah real quick. Micah, thoughts on last night's game and everything that Shaco and Jose said. And we got JFK and Jay. We'll get a reset at top of the hour. We'll break in with some Wizards talk next. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Oh, okay, so I mean, this just like kind of like I started with, like pretty much off the strength of Luca alone, you're a top five offense, pretty much. The issue is they can't stop nothing. Like they're getting cooked, and it's just like that's just not a good formula to work in the end. It's just like so. I'm hoping that they look at these things when they're thinking about acquiring other players. Like, in my opinion, if he's not a plus defender or neutral defender, I don't want him unless we're getting rid of these other guys that are not good defenders. Um, so one of those names you brought up, he's really not that bad, and he's cheap as hell. Good for Mark. I'm so sick of Dwight Powell, and they got plenty of cap space. Send Rick his boy back for Gogo. Why not? Like, just
Yeah.
do something.
All
Like, I
right.
would do it. Just somebody being younger. But it's just team building is hard. We can look at these other teams and be like, oh my God, why are we not able to build like they're building? These other teams that you're talking about, they either did one of two things. They either moved off from a superstar, which we don't have outside of Luka, or they stunk for almost a decade to get to the position that they're in. So I'm
All
not
right.
really trying to let anybody up, but I know one thing. Salamedri is not walking through those doors.
There you go.
That's it.
Like that. You know what? I actually remember him because he saved one of my fantasy seasons like 6 years ago. It was a good week for him. He was like in there because somebody was hurt, and he had one game where he had like 3 blocks and 12 boards. It's like Alexis Ajinka. Remember that dude? Just like that. We'll go to JF to get some non-Mavs thoughts here on the Mavs Hawks games. Then Jay, we'll go to the Wizards and Knicks next, trying to see if Alex from Hawks Fan TV can pop in and bless us with some Hawks propaganda, as he has said. The Trey and DeJounte best backcourt in the league discussion is back up, to which I laughed. JF, what do you got?
Yeah, Chris, I got my son in the background. He's saying Dwayne Dedman for Christian Woods.
He knows how to use his son to get some airtime. I like that. Jada Wakanda, anything you got on the Mavs game? Great
No,
point.
no. Woo. My phone was locked. No.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
I got nothing on. I got nothing on the Mavs.
All right.
Um, I'm just biding my time till we talk Grizzlies and or Clippers.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Up next, we're going to talk with Hater with the Heart. You can find his words over at Point Wizards. You can listen to him. He does stand-up comedy as well, which is dope because I did stand-up for a while. A couple people said I should get back into it, but it's a grind. Like, writing comedy is hard. I'm not going to lie. It's really hard. You can write out the base of a joke, but like to really get in and work in the punchline and make sure that it's amenable to as many audiences as possible, it takes talent and work. Much like Kyle Kuzma had last night, 27 points, 13 boards, 7 assists, and plenty of chirping afterwards to the New York faithful in Madison Square Garden. Hater with the Heart, congratulations. Or I should say, the opposite of congratulations, since you're one more pick or one more win away from getting a higher pick. 116, 105. It's interesting. Bradley Beal came back last night, scored 18, but it's no longer Bradley Beal's team. It really does feel like Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps Porzingis' team, and Bradley Beal's there for good times and vibes. Go ahead and break down the game of what you saw.
Thank you, Chris. I will try to keep it brief because I imagine there are not many Wizards interested parties here. But first, I wish everyone could be as great as Kyle Kuzma is, because when that boy is on, he is on. Definitely one of my favorite players, and it will suck to see him traded if he does go. But all things in-house say that the Wizards are doing their best to keep him, and that includes moving guys that no one else wants, like Rui or there was a podcast drop yesterday, I think, on Believe in Wizards. If anyone's interested, they were talking about all the players that might be gone, and it could end up being a fire sale because there's a lot of smoke for a variety of positions, including KP. So it's going to be interesting next few weeks to see what direction they go. But in terms of the game, real quick, I don't know who we played last night. That did not feel like the Knicks at all. And until I talked to like some Knicks fans and I guess people that are reporting the Knicks. Apparently, the Knicks had played. This is their third game in 4 days, which made a lot of sense because there was no intensity at any point during the game, and it was basically a wrap once Mitchell Robinson fouled out. Like the man amassed 2 blocks and like 2 steals in 9 minutes of play. DeLon Wright, our best defender, did that in 22 minutes. And the impact of not having Robinson crashing the boards where we're generally weak at, and defending the rim, which we love to try to get to the rim, but we're easily swattable unless it's on like the break. It feels like once Mitchell Robinson left the game, there wasn't much the Knicks could do. Like I thought they were going to come out even at halftime, have some energy because that's always been a threat to the Wizards as well. Just halftime adjustments where we make none, the opponent makes like 1 or 2, and the tide completely shifts. But I guess the Knicks just had no gas in the tank yesterday. We picked on R.J. Barrett, picked on Isaiah Hartenstein, we picked on damn near everybody. Julius Randle, he tried some like late game heroics to get them back in the game. But this was a good game for us that, I'm happy we won. Yes, it's a little bit further away from getting a higher pick, but depending again what happens at this trade deadline, especially if Kuz is gone, like we'll definitely be back in the top 10, probably picking someone awful that we shouldn't again. But yes, the highlight of last night really was Bradley Beal just coming back, 28 minutes, 18 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, just being very efficient like he has been all season. And that's very encouraging for a guy that's making like $50 million a year for the next 5 years. Like that's something he needs to be doing at least. He was active a little bit on defense as well, just deflecting some passes. So very happy with that. Kuz was great. KP was tall again and used that to his advantage when he could. And we got some great play from our supporting cast, except for Rui, which again, if anyone out there is interested, he is bilingual. He is half black and half Japanese. So if you're interested in getting into any of those markets, because your team is not currently in it, he is definitely ready for the taking for all interested parties.
Your Tony Snell Award winner of the evening, Rui Hachimura, 20 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 7, 0 for 6 from 3, 1 board, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 3 fouls.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. To be fair to him, he was on one since he came back in December up to like 2 weeks ago. But a lot of his great play in that stretch came off of Kyle Kuzma looking for him to, get his shots up, or where he was set up on offense where he could just go ISO one-on-one with somebody and get something. But these last couple of weeks, it feels like they've been trying to get him the ball less intentionally and just trying to make him play a little bit more team ball. So he's kind of fell off in scoring in that department. And the defensive rebounding was never really there to begin with. So once you take that away from Rui, you don't have much of a player. But that doesn't mean you should have traded for him because he's a nice young man. And again, he's bilingual and biracial, and you can't take those things from him.
All right, there you go. Hey, look, I love it. I love the fact that Kyle Kuzma is making waves and people are hating him. And I want him to bring back the pink sweater just to start trolling people. That's the only thing that is missing is his troll game. We'll go to Jay the Wakandan. Jay, your thoughts? We got Malika Walker and Alex from Hawks Fam TV is here to get ready to bless us with some Hawks propaganda. Jay, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Please retweet the show card. I want to ask a question because this is one of the few Wizards games that I didn't watch. I'm looking at the box score, and I wanted to know how uh, you felt about Bradley Beal not taking so many threes. Was that a function of Beal just kind of trying to get his legs under him so he's not trying to take long shots, or a function of taking, the easy shot after the Knicks ran him off the 3-point line? Because 11 shots and only 1 3 is not Bradley Beal like. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
If this is for me, this actually is more Bradley Beal like this year more than any other year. If you've known the guy, he came in as a great 3-point shooter, but when John Wall went down with those injuries, he had to change his game and become more of a guy who can generate his own shot as opposed to playing off ball a lot more. So with that, I guess some of his mechanic changed, and for the past few years, he's just been dropping in 3-point percentage. So this year, I think he made a concerted effort, and I think he's spoken about it at least once or twice, where he's just taking less threes because it's just not as there. And as he's trying to be more of an efficient player, he's sticking just more to his mid range and just trying to get to the hoop when he can. So it's a very intentional thing by Brad to take less threes this season.
And you heard earlier in his voice, you heard the inflection when he said that they're going to pay him $50 million a year for the next 5 years. Woo! Starting at 46.7 next year. That is one hefty chunk of change. We'll go to Malika Walker, the Rewind Pod. Malika, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chris. Real quick, I just wanted to ask, I hate calling you hater, Justin, a question. Rui Hachimura what happened? Like, I feel like he was coveted like his first few years. Was it the injuries? Like, what was the drop off? Or did you always feel this way? Or did his game not grow and mature over the years? Or did the injuries greatly impacted like his effectiveness on the floor? I'm just trying to understand because Rui was one of the highlights for the Wizards, I thought. So I was curious of your perspective there.
So I'd probably say the three top things when it comes to Rui. One, I don't think he's played a full season in all his years due to missing time for injuries and then missing time for just the mental health stuff last year, which the Wizards, I think, gave him like 3-4
Oh
months off
yeah,
because
the
of it.
mental health stuff. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing, just missing time. Two, as some people have reported recently on him, although he was great for the national team, the Japanese national team, they don't know how much work he's actually put in over here, partly because of just being out. And I mean, partly due to just also being out, but also he's not that aware on the court. And that hasn't seemed to progress. And when you lack awareness, I think like on the court, that really doesn't impact how much you can grow as a person. Because if you can't be aware of what's going on the court, how can you really be aware of yourself or vice versa? His awareness just isn't there, and his investment doesn't seem to be there either. But then also, he's just a guy that, outside of the one Russell Westbrook year we had where he was able to, there was a stretch he was guarding 1 through 5. He was a shutdown guy. That was, I think, the year he yammed on AD or the year right after. That vicious, awesome dunk that I still replay from time to time. He's just been a guy that you have to get going a lot of times unless you set him up in an ISO situation. And this year he started out playing next to Will Barton, who was eating a lot of his shots. But he was able to get some shots going, just being an ISO scorer off the bench. But now that he's asked to do more, without taking some of Will Barton's minutes away from Will Barton, he has to just be a better player. And he just hasn't, from being out and just, I don't know, maybe a lack of investment or interest maybe in basketball at times because, being the star of a national team obviously comes with a little bit of pressure. He's just not a guy who's put it all together. And I think the only way you can really give him a chance to put it all together is if you make the game as simple as possible. And we're just not built to do that. Kuz has tried. He's been the guy that's tried to get him going plenty of times this year. But outside of him, no one's looking for Rui. Rui just has to be a better basketball player, and he's just not. He's just a guy who hasn't put it together.
He's also a tweener, and he's also nothing more than Brandon Clark. Like
Brandon Clark's a better athlete. Rui is not that much of an athlete to me. He doesn't have as much hops. He can shoot the ball, but a lot of guys can shoot.
They are both going to be typecast in the NBA because they're tweeners. Brandon Clark is a power forward center who's too small. Rui Hachimura is a small forward and a power forward body who can't shoot.
So he can shoot. He can literally do nothing else. Yeah. He's a 3-level scorer. Yeah. He's been that way since he came in the league. His mechanics were off when he first came in. Those have smoothed out. He's definitely a guy who can, if you get an opportunity, he can give you double digits off the bench every night. He's just not a guy who can do anything else other than that. Sadness.
All right. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think Brandon Clark can do anything but dunk.
So don't believe let me get this in real quick. So don't believe the national media and how he's reported sometimes. Okay, got you.
All right. We've got Hawks Fan TV, our man Alex here to give you the best Hawks propaganda you ever did here. The DeJounte Murray, Trey Young, best backcourt propaganda is up. The brick is out. It's being cut and being put out there. Four in a row. Longest season winning game win streak. Took you half a season. Alex, is everything clicking? Did they figure it out? Is Nate McMillan the answer? What's up?
See, I'm still hesitant, Chris. I'm still hesitant to say if we really turned the corner just yet, because as you mentioned, we still do have Nate McMillan, and he almost fucked us over last night for continuously playing bogey when he's in this big slump, and not our star rookie AJ Griffin. But I digress. But as you alluded to just a second ago, Christopher, four of them things in a row. Hawks playing elite defense. Their offense is clicking. The guys are getting healthy. We finally got Clint Capella back these last couple of games. And yeah, I mean, and Trey and DJ, it took them, like you mentioned, about half a season for them to finally start clicking and building up that chemistry. But they're playing like the elite backcourt that we all expected them to play like at the beginning of the season. Over his last four games, DeJounte is averaging 26 points a game on 57% field goal percentage, 56% from three on high volume, might I add, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal and a half per game in his last four. The efficiency is crazy right now, and he's looking like the San Antonio DeJounte. I think it took him 30 to 40 games to kind of get acclimated with the team. Maybe he didn't want to come off as a ball hog and be so aggressive. He was looking for his teammates earlier on, which is why he's only averaging like 21 points a game right now. But yeah, I think what this team needs, you kind of have to have that type of same hyper aggressive DeJounte that we saw last year, and him and Trey can play off each other. And Trey's maturation has really stepped up over the last couple games, and I don't know what type of uh, you know man in the mirror moment he had, but he's buying in defensively. He's averaging almost 3 steals a game over his last 3 or 4 games. He's playing unselfish basketball. He's trusting his guys. He deferred a lot to DJ last night on prime time against the Mavs, and he only had 18 points, but he also dished out 12 assists, and he was really efficient last night too. So that's the type of Trae Young we need. I'll take 18 and a 15 stat line from him for the rest of the season if that translates to more wins. But I'm really impressed with the defensive effort that Trae has played with over the last 5 games or so. So yeah, it's exciting. But again, Nate McMillan still is the coach, so we'll see what happens. But the players, from a player perspective, it looks like a lot of our guys are starting to click right now. JC starting to find his 3-point shot back again. DeAndre Hunter's emerging as a nice 3-and-D wing. Onyeka Okongwu, AJ Griffin. Yeah, things are looking up, man.
I was going to give you an A+, but then you had to try to sneak in that Michael Jackson song as if I wouldn't know. And you had to go ahead and just take down a stellar take by adding that mid flavor to it.
That's a great song.
Chris, I think you need help, and I think we need to stage an intervention to understand
there isn't an intervention
understand
that's
what is
needed.
going on with the Michael
Like
Jackson.
you do
He's great.
realize
I
that
don't.
like interventions are used for people who are using substances. So like if I was sitting here listening to nothing but
You
Michael,
are
then you
consumed by hate
should
for Michael
actually
Jackson. That
have
is
an
no. You
intervention.
are consumed with hate for Michael
I,
Jackson. You
again,
need
I don't
to
hate Michael
get to the
Jackson.
root of the
I,
issue.
I don't hate Michael Jackson. I am merely just explaining to the good people the fact that the Rolling Stone article was correct. He's 86th.
It was not. It was an outrage. It was disgusting, and I think you need help, Chris.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I
let
would
this
I'm
think
point
here
that
to
you're
help
stand.
you
incorrect.
I was
figure
just
this
listening
out.
into the show. Chris, you bet not say another bad word about Michael Jackson in
What
my ear.
bad word did I
You
say,
said
Sam?
enough. You said enough. Malika, get him, sis.
You
Like,
are on this midness agenda that I have an extreme problem with. I have a problem with people taking down our
our elite.
geniuses and our elites and our just a great musician and artist. Leave him
Leave
be.
Michael Jackson alone.
You can love Prince and Michael
You
Jackson at
like
the
yeah,
same
yeah
time. It
Leave
is
it alone.
possible to love
I
both.
have never uttered one word of hate. I have just gave an objective point of view.
I asked
Alex,
you
you
for
see this?
objectivity.
I'm getting attacked here. This is
Nobody
hilarious.
I
wants
mean,
your objectivity about Michael
I,
Jackson. Accept
I,
him
I
as the human being, the creative genius that he
Yes,
is.
I
That's
do.
it.
I accept him as the
No,
human being
no,
he
no,
is,
no,
which is
man.
just an
No,
overrated
stop,
No,
talent.
stop,
you
stop,
take it too far,
stop,
Chris.
All
stop
right.
it, man.
All right.
This is
I,
slander of the highest order. It's
I
not
gotta agree
fair.
with
You,
Sam
you,
and Malika.
you see what you started, Alex?
Look, I apologize. I didn't mean to drop in a MJ reference, but he is still the GOAT, king of pop. But back to basketball, I just want to add before I get off the mic is y'all saw the defense that we put on the fourth quarter against Luka Magic, right? He started the game off hot. I think he had 19 or 20 points in the first quarter alone. The timeline was going crazy. Luka this, Luka that. Oh my God, he's gonna go for 50. And then what he do in crunch time when the game mattered most? The Hawks locked down on defense. DeAndre Hunter, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray all played great team defense on him. Shot 25% from the field. I think he had 4 turnovers as well in the fourth quarter. And and that's the type of defense that this team has been playing with over the last 5 games or so, which is why we're winning so many games now. So guys, be prepared, man. If the Hawks keep up this level of defense and Trae and DeJounte continue to do exactly what they've been doing, man, it's going to be scary hours.
All right.
We
Well,
coming for
before
that top 5 seed.
before top five. Gosh, I love it. I've missed this all season.
There's only
Before
one loss that separates us between us and the Heat in the 6th seed, okay? And there's only 3 losses that separate us in the 5th seed.
no,
Just
I
throwing
know.
that
I'm
out
I
there.
just
think the
I
key
just
words is you missed it all season. Like Alex,
uh,
where were you the last few months?
yeah. Malika got it.
I
where
love
Hey,
Alex.
where
I
was
love the
Alex?
propaganda. I love Alex, and I
You was
love
on the
how
milk
he
carton, man.
promotes on
Like people were
social.
asking for
But you're
you.
not consistent. You're not
Yeah, what's
consistent
up?
with showing up when the times. At least I show up for both. You don't do that.
well, to be quite frank with you, Malika and Chris and all of you HoopSpaces listeners, even when we were winning early in the season, I've been super busy just this year in general. And,
Right.
and that's why even this show I had to come an hour and a half late. It's just been a crazy time for me right now, but I promise.
Hmm.
But we've been doing the shows win or loss all season long. It's not my fault you guys don't come in when we lose. So I'll throw that out there as well.
Oh, I'm actually usually in watching games and writing. So I'm not going in to listen because I'm actually watching other games. But yeah, no, I know you do it. I never said anything about that. I'm just
Talking
wondering,
about coming
like,
here, but
where
okay,
yeah,
okay, Alex.
it's good.
But I love you though.
But before you go, do me a favor. The what is your unpopular NBA opinion? I want to know what yours is, and spread that out there to the good Hawks faithful so we can get their thoughts as well.
Unpopular NBA opinion. Honestly, that's I have so many, but I think the one that comes to mind just because I saw a video about this yesterday. Um, yeah, Bradley Beal's probably the most overrated guard of this generation. He's mid, can't do anything on a good playoff team, and he's just a inefficient, high volume scorer on a bad team.
Wow. Wow. All
That
right.
hurts. That hurts.
Am I
So
lying though? Am I lying though? Coincidentally, his 2 best seasons where he's averaged 30+ points, they were a non-playoff team. They were boo-boo.
I love the Schadenfreude that I get with the propaganda pusher of Hawks fandom. Thank you, Alex.
Also, if Reggie Bullock can make an NBA roster consistently year over year, anything is possible. I genuinely believe Reggie Bullock is one of the worst players in the NBA of all time, but yet he still finds minutes on an NBA team. I don't get it.
Just dropping bombs everywhere he goes. You're even bringing somebody up to respond to the Bradley Beal hate. We'll let Hater come up here get his response. Make sure you shoot Alex a follow. Check him out over at hawksfantv.com. Check him out post game, wins or losses. He is on Spaces here after every Hawks game, and you've missed out on Dejounte's pops being in on a space. It was phenomenal. You can go back on his timeline and actually check out and listen to it in its entirety. And you'll actually learn a little bit about what kind of goes on in Hawk Nation, because it's an amazing thing to see a fan base actually like be born into relevancy. Hater, go ahead. We'll give you 30 seconds to reply to the Bradley Beal barb that was given. Although you do have to use Bradley Beal and barb now in your reply.
I am trying to speak. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
You can hear me?
Yeah, that's
Jesus
kind
Christ!
of
No,
why I called your name.
my mic
Yeah.
is saying request still. So whatever.
Ah.
Look, Bradley Beal, not the greatest Supermax player ever. Fine to say that. To say he's whatever you said, trash or more or less, is ridiculous. The guy can get buckets, and he completely transformed his game without having his all-star point guard next to him due to injury over 3 to 4 years. Going from a guy who had to play off ball to learn how to play on it, getting your own shot is not something just anybody can go ahead and do. Especially, again, going from somebody who's not used to having the ball in their hands to having to run the offense under Scott Brooks, nonetheless, for fucking 4 or 5 years. Excuse my language, but Brad's not my favorite player, but at the end of the day, we cannot say he is overrated. At the time, he was definitely within the top 15, top 20 range. That's kind of fallen off due to injuries and his dropping at 3-point shooting.
No, that's the issue, Hater, is he was at never one point of his career a top 10 or 15 player in the league. Never, ever.
Yes, he was. I want to say 2019 for sure.
The man shot incredibly inefficient and chucked up shots on a lottery team.
I'm sorry that he had the likes of who was even on that team. He had garbage around him. They finally are getting people around him now, and that's why he's able to be efficient. But until we got Russell Westbrook, and in between the time that John was out, he wasn't playing next to nobody. And he's an undersized guard. How much do you expect him to do, having to create his own shot on the fly over the course for some years, not being able to kick it to anybody consistently, and having no other real offensive threat outside of himself? He was never built to be a number one guy, but he had to play like a number one guy. So to transform yourself under those conditions, I don't know what more you expect from the dude at all. At all.
The name you were looking for.
Can
looking for
just interject
was
for 1 second?
But the name everybody's looking for
was
Devin Robinson.
He was the worst max 2 guard of this generation. That's what was said. That's what was said.
He said he was overrated.
He was the Mercs max.
Overrated.
No, he didn't say overrated.
Somebody
he said
definitely
the worst
said overrated.
max played 2 guard of this generation. I think that's worse. So
no, Sam said Sam Hawks fan TV. Alex did say he was trash.
Yeah, he said he was trash. He didn't say overrated.
No. I said he was overrated. I said Reggie Bullock was trash.
All right.
Bradley Beal's not trash.
Reggie Bullock. Okay. I get it.
Man, this is like getting heavy. There's a poll up here. Shout out to Bleacher Mob, who understood this was a great time to jump in here and add his own voice down below in the chat box. So if you can't hop up here to talk, you can do that. There's a poll up there. Go ahead and vote. Who you got? Trae Young or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Shai Gilgeous?
Say Shai Gilgeous. No, I said Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, what do you think? Yeah.
It sounded like you said Gildas.
No, probably because the headphones are bad for you. We might have to get you a new pair of iPods.
Stop playing, Chris, with that poll.
What? It's not a play. Like it's there. Like let's have an honest discussion, right? Like people say I'm an SGA hater, and I'm not. Is he not having a better season than Trae?
The hate is real.
Just asking.
Nah, man. SGA over Trae all day. I don't know what we're doing.
What? Let's clap for SGA's good season.
Hold on.
You see?
No.
See that like here we go. Like it's just a question.
Chris is good at what he does, yo. Chris is a master at his craft, and I would say I would leave it at that.
Trae been doing this since he got in the league, man. Let's clap that Shai got it figured out after 5 years. Let's clap for it.
See, again,
Shai has never had a teammate as good as John Collins.
I could care less about when a game is discovered. The game has been discovered. We're talking about right now.
He had Steven Adams back then. If you guys want to talk about the past, You see what he's
Chris
doing for
Paul.
Ja Morant.
Wait a second.
Ry-
You are
Ryan need to
putting
come up
Steven
to take
Adams up there as
Caruso.
some type of offensive stalwart?
He said John Collins, Steven Adams is a glass gladiator. Get the ball,
John
give it to
Collins had
Shea,
a
and he
20
just
and
makes shit
11
happen.
season. Like Steven Adams couldn't sniff 20 even if they gave him 15 shots a game.
You're not wrong about that.
Hey, Chris and the rest of NBA Twitter world, Trae Young is the only All NBA player who can make a conference finals and still be disrespected like this. It's
This is crazy.
Well, that is actually not true, but okay.
Who gets more slander? What other All NBA?
Booker's gotten slandered.
Harden got that slander too.
KD, Harden, like all the good
Zach
players get
Randolph.
slandered. Like, what are we doing? It's just your good player. But like, let me tell you, man, it's been rough for some of these dudes. And you're still
Did
not
someone
answering the
actually-
question.
The
Did
difference
someone
is
actually slide
Trae is
in Zach
24,
Randolph?
man. We win. We move.
All right. Let's get it back to basketball, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give Alex from Hawks Fan TV huge shout out. Round of applause. Make sure you shoot him a follow. Check in on Hawks Space, HFTV Spaces post game. We'll go to NBT first. We'll go to Hawks. We'll clear out with Micah. We'll hit a reset, a read. We got more basketball to talk. And like, this is not a troll poll. Like, there are enough people who are now saying SGA belongs on the MVP consideration. Like, it is what it is. Technically, I've already said he's 14th in my player rating, which, by the way, he's higher than Trae because Trae doesn't play as good defense. We'll get there. NBT, your thoughts from last night's game? What you got?
Yeah, I like the fact that we controlled the game at the end of every quarter. You know, we started off on fire. That's one of the major things for us. Like, when we start off on fire, it's really gonna be hard to contain us the rest of the night. Sometimes we get that lead and get comfortable. I seen us not do that last night. We probably did it for like 2 possessions, and they snapped back into it. I know y'all got different teams or whatever, but AJ Griffin, Rookie of the Year, man, y'all tripping. But Nate not letting him show it off, so you know he might not win it, but he got the best shooting percentage as a rookie. I haven't even looked at that stat, and I can tell you that.
Who is the Rookie of the Year? That's not Paulo. You know, how is it not Paulo? Like, what am I missing?
I'm hurt. Alex does such a good job. Like, damn, NBT. You just come out here and say AJ Griffin, Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year, man. That man don't miss. And everybody done got on him, and he didn't beat him off the dribble, beat him off the first step. He's a 3. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
All right. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna give you a point. Doubling down. I appreciate that. We'll go next to Hawks Burner. Hawks agenda. He's got an agenda to push. I also think he thinks Trae Young is better than SGA.
You'd be right about that. What's going on? This is actually Ro Nose from a couple weeks ago.
Hey, what's up? You changed your name.
Nah, it's just my sports burner. I still got my account.
Cool.
So just keep this with sports. But SGA is not better than Trae Young. He got to do more than half a year to be better. But I mean, right now, sure, only because Trae Young is having the worst start or had the worst start of his career ever, and it's still better than most people's career. He still got better numbers than most people could ever have. So cut all that noise out. You got to cut that out.
I don't like this. I don't like this, Chris, because we just said Bradley Beal is not what y'all say Bradley Beal is, despite his numbers.
Hey,
and the Hawks are in the gutter for Trae Young's numbers. Because I remember Trae's rookie year, and they didn't win 30 games.
What's that got to do?
I'm just saying.
What's that got to do with what we talking about?
You talking
I'm
about
just saying, if you're holding Shay's
versus what, a 30-year-old?
You talking about Alex Lynn as a center starting?
Come on now.
Wait. You do
we
realize that the Thunder are starting a 6'6" guy at center, right?
I was just about to say, we can play the Shea teammate game. We can play the walking through the door game. I love this game.
I can respect that. Shea did not have great teammates. I really do respect that. I respect that.
Like, you know, at one point, his best and most consistent teammate.
Chris Paul.
Wait, what are we doing here? We're talking about Chris Paul. Yeah. Okay.
Chris Paul. Did he not play with Chris Paul?
He played with Mike Muscala more.
Okay. He probably. But where did they go when Chris Paul was?
That was a good
deflect.
They went as far as Mike Muscala carried him when he missed the 3 in the third
Oh,
quarter in the
stop
fourth
it,
game.
Chris.
Y'all talking?
Stop
Okay,
it.
all right.
Look,
Stop it,
see,
man.
no, my issue is I say this year, right? Right. I don't care what his rookie season was. I don't care what Trey's rookie season was. I'm
Me either.
saying this season alone, SGA has played better than Trey Young.
Yeah,
Ergo,
Okay, for
but
3
ergo,
months, I'll
like
give
you
you that. I'll
can't
give you
give
that.
somebody
Yeah, this
a
year, yeah.
bell because they come and talk with conviction, even though it's still not the actual truth. Like, come on, man.
what do you mean it's not the actual truth? It's the
You
actual
get
truth. He
no,
has
you gave a
played better
bell
this
off of
season.
conviction.
For 3 months,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Oh,
3 months.
so we gonna have that conversation.
Okay, so
That's
let's
the
have that
conversation that you want to
conversation.
have. That's the
Who's
conversation
played
that you want to have.
defense? Who's played defense better?
The bigger guy.
Who's rebounded better?
The
The
taller,
bigger
longer
guy.
guy.
Who shot better?
Right now, Shea.
Yeah, y'all saw right now.
3-0.
How long Shea?
3-0.
How long Shea
No,
been?
that's a
You talking about
3-0,
3
like
months?
right
You talking
now.
about that's
But
for
over
3
the
Sweet.
months?
no,
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
no, it's
look,
for 3 months.
all I can say is from the beginning of this season to now, man. That's all I can say.
You can't say
no, that's
shit from
not
the
all you
beginning
can
of his
say. That's
career
what you're
to now.
choosing to say.
All
No,
right, all
what I'm
right,
saying is who you got right now.
all
Who
right.
Right
you
now,
got?
I got
I'm
Trey right
still
now.
taking Trey.
Okay, then that's all. Like, there's no
Hey,
if you
hey,
want to
Like
Chris.
say trade, be cool.
All right,
Kobe
look.
had bad seasons,
I
but
didn't
Look
even
at
we've
come here here
seen
this
talking
over
though.
the
about
course of the
SGA. I came here
career
to
that
talk
he
about
can
Luca.
sustain.
Hold on,
All right.
agenda. Hold on, agenda. Look at this, y'all. Now, OKC not appealing to the eye or whatever, but right now this season they've had a better team than us. This season, and they've been playing better in the system that they've been setting up since last year. We got a whole new squad 5 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So everybody
They're
judging us.
playing 2 rookies at center and power forward who
Hey, Chris.
for
Chris.
440 pounds.
You talking about a team full of high draft picks though, man.
Chris.
All
Chris.
right. What's up,
Chris.
Jay?
I didn't come
No,
here for SGA.
I'll keep
I
it a
didn't come here
buck.
for
Like
SGA talk.
Them
Hey,
boys,
let's
them boys,
let's
they
let's talk
they
they
about
no
they
doubt.
All
let's
right.
talk
like
about
See, we're gonna do this. I'm over my time for the read. I need to get a read in here. Mike had just been waiting patiently. Malika over here instigating. Jay, Sam, Hawks Agenda, NBT, and I are going at it, and Mike is just chilling. Like, I'm just gonna wait my turn because I know eventually Chris is gonna call on me. Brought to you by slamgoods.com. I think the tweet is up there. Make sure you go click on that tweet. They basically listed all of their shorts because they added new ones. So all the old ones are on sale. Guess what? The promo code HoopSpaces works on sale items too. So go buy the ones on sale, use promo code HoopSpaces, save extra money, and then come back and get more stuff like the HoopSpaces mug. Because I'm telling you now, coffee has never tasted better than in a Hoop Spaces mug. And I'll put the merchandise link up there, and you can pick up your own mug for like $12. And all the money goes to helping out here, produce content. Also, powered by audiolabs.io. If you missed any part of the show, you can go back on YouTube, catch it all in its entirety, unedited for context. Shout out to Playback TV. We'll be getting back in there so we can watch games together. And waiting for more news, but I'm telling you now, like I those automatic reply emails kill me. So maybe next week. Also, I want to say in the news today, we'll get into this a little bit later. A surprising name coming up in trade discussions. All right, there you go. Slamgoods.com. 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 Promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15%. Where? At slamgoods.com. All right, let's get Micah in here. We'll give him 60 seconds. H7M is here. If you're down below, you want to come up on stage like H7M, do us the favor, like and retweet the very first tweet in the big board. Shoot us a follow so we know that you are here rocking with us, supporting us as we try to grow one day at a time. Micah, thank you for your patience and decorum. Your thoughts on the hilarity that just ensued. We'll go to Jay to Wakandan, and we got some Memphis Grizzlies and Cavs to talk about.
On what just ensued. Hell, let's bring back your agenda that you had a while back. Because big shout out to him. Appreciate the respect on his IG talking about Luca, go get your MVP. Let's say that to say this: the agenda will agenda, and DeJounte Murray is the better overall player on the Hawks. I'll leave you with that.
A man who understands my plan, because I've been saying that as well. The DeJounte Murray is the better player, the more complete player, the player who can actually play offense, defense, and transition. Hawks agenda doesn't like that agenda. We'll go to him for 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on? I can agree with the all around. I was almost against you there, but I can agree with the all around. He's not a better playmaker. He's not a better scorer than me. Everything else though, he's better at. He's everything defense, but I'm not giving you better play. He's definitely not a better playmaker, and he's not a better
Let
scorer. He can't go
let
get you a
me
bucket anytime.
let me put it this way. Trey Young might be the better playmaker. He equals him if it was a volume offense in terms of
Mm,
facilitation. Meaning, if Trey wasn't there and it's just DeJounte, he can put up the same amount of assists, but they're more volume through transition as opposed to traditional playmaking.
It happened yesterday when Trey had hurt his left ankle.
I could agree with that.
All
Let me
right.
DeJounte
this is what
held
I
it
wanted to
down.
this is what I wanted to get off though real quick. Y'all not talking about Luca enough for me. I need y'all to talk about Luca Doncic more, especially today. Talk about him
Yeah,
like y'all do every other
like
time. Talk about
well,
his team.
one, we don't. Like we talk whomever whatever fan or whatever team comes up we talk, but like we're not pulling the Luca
I need the Luca
24/7
guys
narrative
here.
here.
I need the Luca guys here, not you.
Well, they
I
were
need the
well,
Luca
no, they
guys
were
here.
here early. Like we opened up with that. Like you
I
missed
didn't hear it.
all.
My bad. I
Go,
missed
yeah,
it.
see. This is why we have the YouTube channel. Head over to YouTube, Google, no YouTube, search Hoop Spaces, hit subscribe, and check out the show. It'll be up like 5 hours after the show. Jose went right into it. Like he didn't
Okay.
do good. Yeah, we got you.
All right,
All
I'll go
right.
back.
We've got sorry, we just look. I'm talking Mavs and Hawks again. We have Cavs and Grizzlies with Jay the Wakandan. Probably the best game of the night until the last 55 seconds. Kind of went real fast. Steven Adams with the tip in. That was the go ahead tip in. Is he the most underrated big man in the league? I think it's between him and Jonas Valanciunas down in New Orleans. Jay, go ahead and break down the game. Desmond Bain looks back and healthy and locked in. John Morant looks great. And I'm telling you now, I've got another poll coming up, and it's going to be involving those two, Bain and Ja, and likely DeJounte and Trey, and maybe one other backcourt pairing. Jay, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on? I'm just gonna backtrack real quick on the Shea versus Trey. They came in the league same time, same age, and I want to let you know something. Shea's career offensive rating is 114. Trey's career offensive rating is 115. So when you think that Trey is just outclassing Shea on the offensive part of the floor, you're just wrong. He shoots the three better, obviously. When you look at the numbers, when you can boil down the advanced numbers and per 100 possessions, yeah, it's not the blowout that you think it is. And then this year, Shea is blowing Trey out the water. We're not even getting to that unless you just want to do a special segment on that. But the Grizzly Cavs game was this amazing, beautiful, horrendous game. Um, and I don't know how to classify how the refs did because Grizzly fans were upset about the refs, Cavs fans were upset about the refs. Um, and it kind of marred what was a interesting matchup. In boxing they always say matchups make fights, styles make fights, and that's what this Cavs game was. You're taking one of the best half court defenses against one of the worst half court offenses, with the Grizzlies being on the worst half court offense. But you also had two teams who do shoot threes or aren't necessarily good at shooting threes. Um, and it was just a tactical matchup that honestly Bickerstaff won the tactical battle. He just lost the game. Evan Mobley was very impressive. He did not back down from Jaren. He did not back down from Steven Adams. He proved surprisingly effective and efficient at scoring in the paint. He has this little like push hook shot that because he's so long, Jaren just despite his despite trying, he just couldn't get to it. And Evan shot it with confidence. And Jaren did the same thing to him on the opposite side of the floor. I just if Brandon Clark pump fakes 3 times, Evan Mobley fouls out the game. Brandon, if you're listening, just pump fake. Like absolutely shoot the one-handed floater in the paint the first 2, 3 attempts. Everything else, just pump. Get him in the air, jump into him, throw the ball off the glass. But with the way the refs were calling the game, you probably wouldn't have got free throws. It was crazy. Um, I was disappointed that Taylor Jenkins didn't run Bane off double screens against the Cleveland offense. Uh, uh, Garland did a really good job of keeping everybody involved, like getting his. Ja did a really good job of getting his teammates involved, like getting his. He kind of got banged up early in the game, and Dez and Jaren decided that they weren't going to let the Grizzlies lose. The game was in danger of getting blown out in the second quarter. I thought it was going to be a blowout because the Grizzlies were just sick of not getting calls, and they proceeded to take it out on the Cavs. Um, but the Cavs, to their credit, battled back, made it close. Actually took the lead in the fourth quarter, and the Grizzlies just kind of buckled down on the defensive end and got stops. Uh, I completely understand Cavs fans feeling like if Spider plays, they win that game. My only counter is that if Spider plays, I don't have the box score in front of me anymore, but the shot distribution and efficiency of everybody goes down. Like if Spider plays, Evan Mobley definitely doesn't take 15 shots, and Karis LeVert definitely doesn't take 19 shots. Um, and so, does does Spider have that game that you need to win against Memphis if Dylan Brooks is guarding them? Maybe, maybe not, especially with the way the refs were allowing contact. I don't know, but it was
Well,
a great game.
let's be honest. Isaac Okoro is not going to go 4 for 4 from deep, 6 for 6, and again, right?
No, I mean that's what I was saying.
Like,
Like Garland was doing a good job of getting guys in rhythm. Rubio was back this game. Rusty, understandably rusty. But I think he still did some good things, but the shot is not there yet. And if Rubio's shot is there, the Grizzlies probably lose this game by like 7.
yeah, I also think the big issue that we're going to have with the Cavaliers is they're going to be two people, too much. They've got to choose now between Isaac Okoro, Lamar Stevens, and Sheedy, Osman, because all three of them basically do the same thing. They play the same man, I can't even do that word right now. They play the same role for support off the bench now. And the issue is that they don't really do a consistent job. And hopefully Rubio can solve that. Kevin Love off game as well, 1 for 6. If he has his normal game from the first half of the season, this could have been different as well. Um,
Yeah,
the
and the
poll.
Grizzly counter argument is that Dylan Brooks went 4 for 12 and 0 for 5 from three.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of
And
like what Dylan Brooks
and
does.
yeah, and Tyus Jones missed all 3 of his wide open 3-point attempts as well. So that's what I'm saying. It was a evenly,
Yeah,
except
but
for
then
Spider
Santi
being
Adama went 6 for 8, and he normally goes 3 for
hey
8.
listen, hey listen, man,
Like
Santi
we could
gonna
do this
do.
all day, Jay. We
I
got
know,
time.
but I kind of want to. But nah, Santi is as in my opinion starting to be the one of the best backup bigs in the game. Quietly so. I wish Taylor Jenkins would realize that. Because I don't like Clark being in the middle of their zone busting sets on their second unit. I would prefer it be Santi. Even though Brandon Clark is slowly but surely unveiling a elbow mid-range jumper that he shoots like one game a week. It's not he doesn't consistently go to that shot. So that's why my pushback earlier when you said all Brandon Clark can do is dunk, and that's not true. He
Okay.
has a one-handed push shot in the paint, and he has an elbow jumper that he
and
shoots
and
sometimes.
and he played 20 minutes and got 7 shots, just like Rui Hachimura, which was what my original point was. Is he's like Rui Hachimura? Uh, New poll question. We'll get Jay's thoughts and we'll go around the room. Who is the best backcourt in the NBA right now? Trey DeJounte, Darius Donovan, Ja or Desmond, Steph Clay. your four options. Sorry to the likes of the Charlotte Hornets, although Terry Rozier and Dennis Smith Jr. Propelled you to an amazing 10 wins. It's just not enough to get on the best backcourt in the NBA today. Jay, your answer, and then we will go to Sam.
Um, right now, just out of respect of what they've done, I think the best backcourt in the NBA is still Steph and Clay when healthy. But because of their advanced age, if I was to pick a backcourt to start my franchise with, it would definitely be Ja and Bane.
All right, there you go. I think I know what Hawks Agenda and NBT are going to vote, but I want to know what Sam is going to vote because there's a backcourt that should have happened in Chicago and it didn't, and that's Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball. Shout out to Lonzo Ball. Hopefully, like it's not the end that we see him back. Just disheartening. But as a Chicago Lakers and a Los Angeles Bulls fan, Sam, how is your second half of the season shaping up? What do you have to add in from anything that we had before?
I mean, on the actual question, that's the poll. Like, I would have liked to see the actual backcourt that has not been, and it's still undetermined, and it's unfortunate with like Zach and Ball. But I do recognize that we're having a conversation when it like it looks the way that it looks. So I want to go back because I feel like sometimes we get a little too analytical and we just get into this conversation where we get so deep into the numbers and so deep into everything that is like actually happening where we forget the wow factor. And the wow factor actually like looks like to me when I think back on everything that's been going on, like man, like DeJounte Murray don't give me that wow factor. Like, yes, he's very solid in a lot of different areas. But like people ain't turning the turnstiles to see DeJounte Murray. They'll turn the turnstile to see Trey, period. And in my understanding and in my estimation of everything that I've seen over the NBA for all of these decades that I've been watching the NBA, is like looking at like, okay, who gives me that thing where it's like, if it's 3 seconds on the clock, if they have something that's an incredible shot or an impossible shot or an impossible situation, who can pull me out of that? And Trey has shown me more than DeJounte. And the fact that, like everybody's having this conversation to say like if he's the one or he's the 1A, and I know it hasn't been said exactly that way. But I'm just like, man, like it's an easy conversation because like like we can always look at a certain person and it's going to be certain seasons where somebody's going to have something better than somebody's going to have something worse. And like right now, like man, like the wow factor when it comes back to everything that we're looking at, it's still Trey because everybody ain't showing up for DeJounte. They showing up to see Trey lead the team into victory. And if he doesn't do that, if he's not playing, if he's hurt, et cetera, like I don't want to turn into a conversation where we get a whole bunch of Kawhis. Kawhi ain't fun to watch. And
It is for
like
me
I
when
just
healthy.
no, he's not fun to watch. It's like watching Tim
He is
Duncan.
for me when healthy, Sam. Like
Hey, Malika, I get it,
that's
and
an
I respect you.
objective view.
I get it, and I respect you, sis. But when I was looking at Tim Duncan all those years, Tim Duncan was not fun to watch, even though fundamentally he gave me everything that he gave me when it came down to the game. But
I
it was
watched
like
Tim
I
Duncan
would
play
rather
ball.
watch.
What do you mean? What do you talk? Listen. When I
Man,
was hooping, when I was hooping, I learned a
I
lot from Tim Duncan when I was hooping. God damn it!
get
What are
it,
you
I
talking
get it.
about?
But like,
I loved watching Tim
I
Duncan
ain't
because of
never
the
got.
facial
hey,
expressions. Like he
listen,
was hilarious.
everybody on this
And
watching this
Kawhi does
and
that
having
too.
everybody having this conversation right now. You could either be Tim Duncan or you can be Kobe Bryant. And there was way more people that wanted to be Kobe Bryant over Tim Duncan, even though Tim Duncan won more than Kobe.
See, I'll give you that point. Although
You know what I'm saying?
neither
So like,
neither Tim
The
Duncan
only
nor
thing Tim Duncan won that Kobe didn't was a bronze medal. Relax.
okay. Well,
I didn't, but I'm not getting into the specifics of it. the way that it looked was different. Like it was way more people in our culture that wanted to be Allen Iverson. That Iverson never actually won a title. But the way that he did it, the way that he played basketball, the pizzazz, all of those things that came across with it, it was authentic. It was, it was great for the game and it was great for conversation. So, like,
Let
so
me
like
ask you this
I just
question,
look at
Sam.
it very differently
I
than
I
some
I want
people
to
sometimes.
I want to ask you a question, Sam.
Go right ahead.
Was Kawhi Leonard's height the Toronto laugh?
Huh? Nah, you've
Was
been
that
messing up
the
a whole lot
height?
of words today.
Well, okay, no, okay. Hear me out.
So
Kawhi,
say it the
you
way that you wanted to say it.
well, no. I did. I just don't think you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, I agree with you. I don't think Kawhi is all that entertaining to watch in the regular season. I think when it comes to the playoffs, he is entertaining. But I'm with you. Like during the regular season, I'm like,
No,
whatever. Then he had the laugh in Toronto, right? The laugh. And
he did.
that was what humanized them. And then all of a sudden, everybody loved Kawhi.
After that, yes, everybody did love Kawhi.
All right.
And it was
See, now you
unfortunate
understand.
because, like, after that, yes, everybody loved Kawhi. But everybody loved, the grace that we're having conversations about and the situations that we're having conversations about. Because, like, when I listen to and when I hear, like, Jada Wakanda, like, speak about everything that he just spoke about, and he said it eloquently. But, like, that's just analyzing the game. The game ain't it's a part of the game that don't ain't supposed to be analyzed. It's supposed to be enjoyed. But we get into a point where it's like we're over analyzing everything for everybody. And then everybody just tunes into the analyzing of everything. And like,
I
man, like
I don't think everybody does that. I think it's become its own version of entertainment. I'm with you on that. But like, I can still sit back and say, you know what I really enjoyed last night? Santi Aldama going 4 for 6 from three, including two in the corner. Like that was dope. So I don't. I
I
think
get
what it
that.
is,
But
yeah,
what I'm saying is so what I'm
is
saying is when it comes down to the Atlanta conversation, like, do I want to see Trey Young or do I want to see DeJounte Murray like go for broke? I want to see Trey.
well, I think
And
it
he's the
depends on your
reason.
the play style though.
I get it. But I'm just saying for myself,
All
give
right,
me Trey all day.
I feel you.
And I can go and I can watch that, because he's gonna do something I don't expect.
I don't
Like,
know about that.
I'm just
Uh,
saying, Trey has that ability. DeJounte Murray don't give me that. He's gonna give me something that's consistent. And consistent mean I could have like saved $400 and I could have watched this at the crib.
Bro, I can't let you say that, man. We appreciate the hell out of DeJounte. If Trey ain't gonna do it, DeJounte gonna do it. And we ain't seen that all season, like, so I ain't gonna say that. But I'll raise my hand and say the number one backcourt is gonna be for a long time, and is Steph Curry and Clay. But we top three and we not number three, like my boy Alex say. You see what I'm saying?
And I get that. Now I could rock with that because that comes with passion. So we not top three, we number three. However that
Yeah,
goes, I can
we're
rock with
top
that.
three and we're not number three.
Okay, I can rock with that. And then from the actual resume for Steph and Clay, you can't go against that. But like, do I want to see Clay and do I want to see Steph? Both of them have their pizzazz because Clay could go for 80 and he can pull it out of his hat.
And Clay go for
And Steph,
40 in one quarter.
you get what I'm saying? So like he has that pizzazz where it's like you never know where it's gonna come from. Steph, you never know where it's gonna come from. You just know that he gonna get it, and he might get it on a more consistent basis. But it's still fun to watch. DeJounte Murray ain't fun to watch for me.
You talking to him like he's bogey. The way you talking to
I
him is
didn't
how you talk
no. I'm
about
just
bogey,
saying
bro. And
he's
bogey
not
Let
get
me
fun
busted.
to
let's move
watch.
on. We got more.
Keep it
We've
pushing.
done 3 games. We need more games. We have more games to get to. We've only done 3. We have 1
Facts.
hour of show left. We got to move on. Go ahead, wrap up, Sam.
Nah, that is my wrap up. We got
All right.
we got more games to get to. You'll talk to me again.
All right. Hornets beat the Rockets 122-117. Jalen Green goes bananas. 41 points, 16 for 24 shooting. If EK Johnson was available, he would come up here and he would say, this is why Jalen Green is the greatest thing in Houston since James Harden. And a little bit of extra hyperbole. My issue is that if you watch the game, there was very little else to really be happy about if you were Houston outside of Alperen Sengun. He had
I love that
24,
kid. That
yeah,
kid Sengun. Yeah, he
20,
has him.
24 points, 12 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block, 10 for 16. Yeah, Jabari Smith Jr., though, 3 for 7, 8 points, looking like Brandon Clark. If you want to come on up, go ahead, raise your hand, do us the favor, like the very first tweet in the big board. Next people coming up in about 2 minutes after this read. Like I keep telling you about slamgoods.com. I keep telling you about the promo code HoopSpaces. And then from time to time, usually once every show, I tell you about the pickup card game. Look, they're almost getting ready to launch edition 2, the second edition. So if you want to pick up the first edition as a collector's item, now's the time. Head over to slamgoods.com, go into the search box, search pickup, and you'll be able to pick up your copy of the pickup card game and use promo code HoopSpaces to save 15%. What is it? Well, you can go to YouTube and Google what is the pickup card game, and you get a wonderful video that teaches you how to play. It's a trading card game that is built expressly to share your passion for basketball. All inclusive, women, children, men, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, disabled, not disabled. They are all in there because basketball is a sport for everybody. So go check out the pickup card game. Pick up your copy now over at slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. All right, there's the read. Hornets, Rockets, Terry Rozier is probably on his way out. PJ Washington is probably staying because it's where he's going to get the most money unless the Hornets get what they want. Jaden McDaniels probably staying unless the Hornets get what they want. But I want to talk about Mark Williams, who was 17 points on 8 for 10 and 6 boards and 5 blocks. The only bright spot, really, that the Charlotte Hornets team has for the future as LaMelo Ball goes down with another
And
ankle injury.
Where'd he go to school at, though?
LaMelo, he went
I
to
ain't
Chino
saying Melo. I
Hills.
said
Mark, you know
Mark
you talk
Williams.
about Mark Williams.
Stop playing with me, man. Stop
Yeah,
playing
Mark
with
had
me.
a great night. Mark is a bright spot, but so is Bryce McGowan's. I like Bryce McGowan's as well, but Mark is, Mark is good. He's getting more and more playing time, and he will be for the rest of the season. And he was definitely the bright spot. Looking forward to seeing him play more. But apparently last night he's the first rookie. You know how they had these random ass stats, but he's the first rookie in so many years to have 17 points and 5 blocks in that few minutes that he played. With yeah. But it was nice to see him that he should have dominated last night because the Houston really doesn't have a center. So it's nice to see him do well when he's supposed to. But yeah, that game was a rough watch. But Mark was the highlight, so it was nice to see him. It was nice to see him do well. But I think Lamelo needs to play with an ankle brace or something. Like, what is the problem with him and these damn ankles?
I don't think LaMelo needs to play right now. I'm
It's
starting
I
to
the
think he
get
needs to
shoes.
sit for the rest of the season. To be
yeah.
honest,
It's the Pumas.
like
It's the
he
Pumas,
just
yo.
needs to
It's the
sit,
Pumas.
just sit his ass
Oh
down somewhere.
no. Well, okay. So I got a lot of flack regarding my comment about Lonzo Ball and the big baller brand shoes, right? And I have said this comment that I want to find out. I would pay to find out if the problems that Lonzo has are from these shoes, because he would play in these shoes despite these shoes blowing up on his feet, right? And that's my issue here is like when you start getting the same injury over and over again, the medical community puts a phrase on it. Itis, like it's a continuance, arthritis, degenerative condition of your joints, right? This is now his third ankle injury this season alone. Same ankle. If you go back all the way to his rookie year, this is his seventh ankle injury on the same ankle. And even before the injury, he's regressed. His shot selection has regressed. The way he shoots has regressed. And I ask you, Malika, did they fire the only coach that was holding LaMelo Ball accountable? Because, like, anytime he's played this season, he has not played with the same type of intensity or even connection with his fellow players on the floor. At least that's how I see it. And it seems as though he's become more of an isolated scorer. What do you got?
I think one of the things Amelo is dealing with is he's not dealing with the consistent same caliber of players he had on the floor last season. He's really missing Miles Bridges. They had a really big connection, and he has been unable to find that connection with the players they have in Charlotte. I think the talent that he's been playing with on the floor, Terry Rozier hasn't been consistent. It looked like he doesn't have really rhythm with the players they had, but he didn't like James Borrego. Like, he really didn't like James Borrego. So I like when you keep talking about James Borrego, that wasn't going to work long term, because I think that there was James Borrego, he lost the locker room. So that wasn't going to happen either. So I think that they need to surround LaMelo. I'm not saying bring back Miles, but they need to surround him with some talent so he can grow and build with. I think he goes to ISO because he feels like he doesn't trust anybody else on the floor. And I
Oh,
think that
I understand. I get that. But what I'm asking specifically is, I haven't seen accountability since Borrego left, and I
Cliff
like
has accountability. Cliff holds
no,
his team accountable.
not on the team. The team has actually done better than I thought they would under Clifford, given the circumstances. I'm just talking specifically about LaMelo.
I don't know what you because he is hard on everybody. When they don't do well, he's hard on everybody. Like, he talks about the whole team, and when he gives interviews, he's very direct in what he says to the team. So I hold him accountable. I think that he is being held accountable, but also he's not. I think it's also a recognition that he's playing like Kelly Oubre has been in and out of the lineup. He's been dealing with a lot of change and consistency and level of players he's playing with. I don't know how much to hold him accountable for really right now.
Okay, all right.
Being
I'm
Malika,
honest.
just
can I ask a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, sis, like when it comes down to it, like would you put more on the organization or more
Yes.
on LaMelo?
Yes.
So, how would you rank that when it comes down to percentages? Is it like a 60-40 organization? Is it kind of like
70
a
30.
70-30?
70
70-30?
30.
It's a 70-30
Because
organization.
Kupchak put that team on the floor and he gave those steals out.
cup check. Oh man.
Wow.
But at the same time,
Ugh.
like when I look at his brother, I
But
put like
Miles
a
Bridges is
70-30 on the
responsible for
Bulls.
Miles Bridges. Like, Miles Bridges is responsible for what he did. No one else is responsible for what he did but Miles Bridges. I think that was a huge loss for LaMelo. He's very young. He connected with him very closely. They were even working out together in the offseason. They worked together all summer last year. And then when that happened, I think it really, really impacted him. He sees him
All right.
like a brother there. I think it was a big impact. I
We're
really do. I
gonna
think people are
we're
I think people aren't taking that into account either.
all right. We're gonna play a quick game of trivia. Then we're gonna go to Mikey Kabrinsky because he's actually wanted to come up and talk Houston Rockets. But this is going to be an interesting trivia. Anybody that's on the stage can answer this question.
I won't be participating because I'm horrible at trivia. But go ahead.
How many games in the month of January has LaMelo Ball shot over 42%?
4,
Zero.
2.
4,
One.
Who said one? Is
Dominic
that
did.
all right? What's up, Dominic? Yes, one. He was 58%, 11 for 19 in the loss against Toronto. Next best game, 41.7, a loss against Indiana. Next best game, 40.9, 40.7. Like this it's just an entirely bad month of January. And that's why I was asking, like, did you see any
I
regression?
also think that he's having problems with his wrist. So I don't think it's just
It's the
ankle.
Pumas,
I
yo.
think he's
Keep telling
having
y'all that.
issues with his wrist.
No, I agree with you, Anthony. I think it is the shoes as well. But
Go Nike, y'all.
yeah,
I'm telling
Yeah, it
you.
third,
is. But he locked in that contract. He better do something with them insoles, and he needs an ankle brace. I think he needs to rock like Steph Curry rocks for how he takes care of his ankle.
you know
Something ain't right.
what? This would be a perfect time to plug in Move insoles, but they are not a sponsor.
Also, Chris said of no left
Mhm.
field, I did use the Spaces code yesterday when I purchased something off of the Slam Good site. So kudos to Hoop Spaces.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. That sounded good. Say that again, Malika. That was dope. I just like the way that sounded.
That I used the Hoop Spaces code to purchase something from the Slam Good site. That
It's like music. I can hear Funk Flex lining it up like it's a Friday night.
you
That was
silly,
dope.
but with, I maybe I'm being too soft on Lamelo, but I understand just how close they were and how big of a loss that is for him. And I think he was working through that, and the caliber of talent he's had consistently since he came back from injury is not the same level as he's playing with. And to me, PJ Washington, I was expecting more from him. He should not. He can go. They can keep Jalen McDaniels. Like he needs to go.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at personally.
I agree with you in everything you said, but one thing, because the only difference between this year and last year is that Miles Bridges isn't there.
I agree, but
That's
I expected more from the two-time father. I expect he's supposed to, I expected more from him. Like I did.
Whoa.
I expected more from PJ
jeez.
Washington.
We're gonna
He
go
was
ahead and,
better last year
Wow.
playing the 4 and the 5. Like
ladies and
PJ, but you could
gentlemen,
count on PJ last. This year,
we
you don't know what you're
we
going to get.
we
Yeah,
are
You don't know
yeah.
what you
Last
got
year
gathered.
you
going.
could definitely count on PJ Washington. You sure could.
We are
Because
we
every time
are
he played in Atlanta, he used to give us
we
hell. So yeah, that's right.
we are gathered here today to bid farewell to PJ Washington as Malika Walker simply just buried him 20 feet into the ground. Lay down your roses, pour out your OE. PJ Washington getting bodied, ladies and gentlemen. Point to Malika Walker.
But what I just don't know, like, yeah, I can see with Lamelo that Miles is possibly affected a lot more people, but PJ, I don't know. Like PJ should have been. I see him. He should have been further. I don't know. Like he was on this. He wants 20 million a year minimum. You should be coming out with that energy, and I don't think he is.
Let's get to Mikey Kabrinsky. He wanted to come up and speak on the Houston Rockets. What you got, Mikey? It's good to see you again. Hopefully, your New Year's going well.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's going pretty well. Got a early schedule this semester so far, so haven't been able to come in as much as I've wanted to. But one thing I want to harp on the Rockets because nothing's going to convince me that Steven Silas is not the worst coach in the NBA. He consistently wanted to start Bruno Fernando, and as a Hawks fan, I know I watch Bruno Fernando. And no offense to Bruno Fernando, but should not be starting on any team. You should not be developing Bruno Fernando over Alperen Şengün, who is averaging now per 36, 19.9, 11 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and a steal and a block. He was starting Bruno Fernando and playing Usman Garuba, 3 center man rotation, before finally starting to play Şengün over 30 minutes these past 2 games, and he's absolutely dominated. I think it's criminal what he's done to Şengün, and honestly, I think Şengün can be a Jokic light. Jokic is my favorite player in the NBA. I try to watch almost all Nuggets games, and the games I've watched from the Rockets, I've seen what I need to see, and especially offensively. Defensively, Şengün has a lot to work on, but offensively, this guy has the mind to lead an offense in his prime. I really do. So the Rockets right now, I really think they're focusing on the wrong guy. I know Jalen Green is good. He's an inconsistent shooter, but if they don't run the offense more through Şengün, I think his talents are being wasted there, and I kind of want to see him move to a place where he can get more of a role. I don't know. He's the third option right now. I know there's not a team where they're going to put all their stock into Şengün, but I really think that he can become an all-star in this league if he gets enough minutes and he gets enough usage. What do you guys think about that take?
I don't think it's hot. I think that's pretty much actually um, rather accepted that Sengun is either the best or second best player. I've said that the highest ceiling on the Rockets is Jabari Smith Jr. And what I mean by that is by traditional NBA standards, if Alperen Sengun is able to become basically the in between Domantas Sabonis and Nikola Jokic,
Yeah.
then it's going to be a hell of a run in Houston if they can build around it. But like everything you see this is Jalen Green's team, for better or worse.
Yeah, and I really like Jalen Green, and if he can figure out the balance between shot selection and getting his guys involved, as well as just making shots in general, because he's been just inefficient pretty much throughout his whole career. But if he can balance that out, I think the Rockets can go somewhere. But until both he and Porter figure that out, I think the Rockets will be stuck in this kind of middle ground where they have talented guys they want to build around, but they're not getting the mindset to be able to build around them.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accepted complaint. My issue with that is that Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. play the same position. Jalen Green is better. So if Porter's not coming off the bench with a better point guard option, then it's moot. You're not going to really get that far. Jay, let's bring you in here for your thoughts. Your hand is up. We'll go to Malika Walker, the Rewind Pod after that. And Bruno Fernando, ladies and gentlemen, University of Maryland alum. Fear the turtle. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that we've decided to free Jabari Smith. I'm glad we got to this
Whoa,
part
whoa,
of the
whoa, whoa, whoa,
program.
whoa, whoa! No. Nobody said that.
I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. I'm pretty
No,
sure I
no, no.
heard
No one said
that
that.
Silas doesn't know how to develop bigs, and
Well, that was said.
Jabari Smith is the big on the team with the highest ceiling.
Well, that's
So
what
the
I said.
biggest disservice, so mathematically, then the biggest disservice that Silas is doing to a big has to be Jabari Smith. Ergo, free Jabari Smith, and we can all
Or
agree.
ergo, free Steven Silas.
Yes, he's the guy who's got to go.
Tomato, tomato. Listen, what I'm saying is that the Rockets need an adult in the room, a la Danny Green, and his salary and Jabari Smith's line up. And I'm just saying, Danny Green for Jabari Smith plus, 2 picks, 2 swaps for the fourth option on the Rockets, who are in line to get Wembenyama anyway. I think that works. It leaves both parties happy. And then when they get Wembenyama, he just slots in, and you don't have to have the headache of figuring out how do you play Sengun, Wemby, and Jabari Smith Jr. I think that should get done by the trade deadline.
Yeah,
And I appreciate y'all.
I knew you would. I'm gonna give you a point. So I put the tweet out on what your unpopular NBA opinion is. This one by far has really it caught my eye. It just came out, and that's why it caught my eye. It has been out. Oh gosh, Grant Hill is not a Hall of Famer. I I can't. Like that is
Bro, like,
something else.
really, bro?
What?
Nonsense.
Who said that?
Like,
Nonsense.
we
Oh my goodness.
like, I'm not. It's a level of foolishness that I'm not gonna condone, and I'm not even like. It's nothing to talk about. Like, what?
So look, I'm all about unpopular opinions. I want everybody to be able to share them. So if the former Yay stand, thanks for graduation, ever wants to pop into the show and talk about it, we are here. I would just tell him like that's not an unpopular opinion. That's just a non-fact. Malika, you had a great room on the Rewind Pod talking about exactly this with Grant Hill. What are your thoughts?
No, this opinion, and I think people are just remembering Grant Hill per his career after he was injured. But one thing about the Naismith Hall of Fame, it takes into account also your college, and international play, like it takes all of that into consideration. And when you look at Grant Hill, his history at Duke, and you look at him with the Olympics, and then the 6 he did play, and he had some years there where he was productive to teams after he was injured. Not as many as he would admit, but he admitted that after the injury he wasn't the same player. But you got to look at those years also in Detroit and the level player he was, and it was sad that he was misdiagnosed. That wasn't his fault, and his career shifted after that. But Grant Hill deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because of all of his accomplishments. If it was the NBA Hall of Fame only, I would understand the argument a little bit, but you can't do that when they include Duke and when they include international play. When you put all of the chips on the table, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Like, there is no question about it. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame, and I think people forget that.
Even if it was, he would be in the NBA Hall of
No, I
Fame.
agree. Even if it was the
He
NBA Hall
sure
of Fame,
would. He
he
in the
would be
NBA
in.
Hall of Fame. He'll
All
be
I'm
in.
all I'm saying is when people say this, I think they're just remembering Grant Hill after the injury, and you can't with Grant Hill. You got to
You don't
look.
want to. They also remember him being 40
They
because
do.
he stayed in the league until he was 40.
He stayed in the league a little too long. I get that, but Grant Hill, you got to look at the totality of his career. I think that there's no way you can say that he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, even if it's just the NBA. Me personally, but if people were saying because of his NBA career, the argument, I can see people making that argument, although I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I think that for sure a Hall of Famer with everything he's done in the game. There's no question.
Here's Grant Hill's age 38 season. He played 80 games. He started 80 games. He played 30 minutes per game and averaged 13 points, 4 boards, and 2.5 assists at 38, right? And that was the hallmark for older players not named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, if you were an older player in the
And not
NBA,
Jordan, because remember he was.
oh, yeah, Jordan. Sorry, he was in the Wizards. I tend to lump off the Wizards years because it was the Wizards.
But we also got to talk about Vince Carter.
Vince wasn't doing what Grant was.
Yeah,
At,
now Vince wasn't doing that near the end of his career.
No,
yeah,
he
like
wasn't. He was
he
not.
was good in spurts. He could give you 15 off the bench, but he wasn't putting up 30 minutes at 38. Like and that is again after a major ankle injury already at 30 years old. Right? So, like, just imagine that. He played a decade, screwed his ankle up, had surgery, sat out a year, and actually within 4 years only played less than 50 games, comes back, plays another decade. And this dude says he's not a Hall of Famer. But hey, I'm all here for
Hey,
it. Sam,
hey,
what's
listen.
yours? What?
Like for me, when it comes down to it, because I want to go to Jay the Wakanda because he had his hand up before mine, and then come back to me.
Oh, okay. All right. Real quick, we're gonna go to Jay, then Sam. We'll clear out Mikey. We got a couple more games to talk about. Hopefully, we can also squeeze in some questions with Anthony because Anthony is hilarious. I love this dude, and he actually does know ball. A lot of people don't think that, but he does. Jay, 30 seconds. Sam, 30 seconds. Mikey, 30 seconds. Then let's get into the Heat, Pels, Thunder, Pacers, Jazz, Clippers next.
Unpopular opinion: the Clippers should blow it off and sell it for parts, and Steve Ballmer should sell the team to Coinbase and just move it to Seattle. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. There's a whole section of Twitter that would be throwing knives at the back of your head right now. Just want to let you know. Sam, what you got?
Yeah. So like when it just comes down to everything that he's and Malika laid it out very much, and I'm a Duke fan, so I can reiterate, but I won't. But I'm just saying, like, one of the best human beings when it comes down to sports that I've ever seen in my life. Like, Grant Hill deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Period. because everything that he did on top of that, like everything that he's done in sportcasting since he retired, has to be taken also into account because they also take those into effect. So, like, man, like, ain't no conversation where he's not a Hall of Famer, period, in my book.
But Sam, that's separate. The sportscasting stuff, like they judge that separately. Like Chuck is in as
Hey,
a sportscaster and as a player.
Yeah,
hey,
and
sis,
and
I
the
understand that, but what I'm saying is, like, everything that he did as a player, everything that he's done after he was not a player, and like now he deserves. If anybody's ever deserved to be in the Hall of Fame, Grant Hill deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, no, I don't think we're
And you can
disagreeing
make
with you.
yeah, you can make so many cases for it. And I just didn't want to reiterate everything that you already said.
All right. I think we're all in agreement here that he is a Hall of Famer. Um, the weird thing about the Basketball Hall of Fame is they do the individual accolade, whereas like football and baseball, if you get in as a player, if you have other stuff, they title it as something like contributions to the game, right? And then that's a catch-all. So anything you've done in the past that wasn't directly tied to this playing the sport, and anything you do in the future would always be added as contributions to the game. I think they do that with coaches. Like after you hit a certain time, you get in as a coach, but then a lot of these coaches do other things, either broadcasting, front office, or even just charitable work. Mikey, go ahead, 30 seconds, and we're going to go ahead and get into the three blowouts from last night. It won't take long because out of all the blowouts, only one of them was interesting. We'll get to it. Go ahead, Mikey.
All right, for a hot take, the best off ball defender in the league is DeLon Wright, and yep, it is. I stand by that. I stand by that. But
Oh, I appreciate consistency. Here's your point, sir. You've been on this for over a year. I love it. Go ahead.
and for my last 30 seconds, as part of Hawksman TV, I got to leave you guys with some propaganda. The Hawks are fully healthy. We have turned the corner. We are coming.
All right, there you go. Shout out to Mikey Kabrinsky. Make sure you get those college courses done. Make sure you graduate with no less than a 3.7 GPA.
I'm not worried about that. I'm graduating this semester. I got a good GPA.
All right, good. I'll keep you accountable to it, just like I do Bakari. All right, we've got 3 games to go through. We're going to go through them rather quickly, as they are all blowouts, ladies and gentlemen. Only one of them was interesting, and it was not the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers game. I can tell you that. 126-106. Andrew Nemhard starting in place of Tyrese Halliburton. He had 18 and 7. If Tyrese doesn't play, that team is not the same, and I would like to say it. They are pretty bad. Buddy Hield got yanked, couldn't do anything. 3 points in 19 minutes. Benedict Mathurin, 13 points. He's cooled off as the league has figured out. You can let him kind of score out from the perimeter. If you stop him from driving, he kind of loses interest in the game. Miles Turner, 6 blocks, 4 fouls, and nothing else. The bench actually did better than the starters, similar to the Lakers game. We'll get to that in a while. For the Thunder, SGA, 23 points, 3 steals. Probably his worst shooting night of January, 7 for 17. Josh Giddey, 16 and 11. He's healthy, and he's actually looking to be really more of the dominant point guard, shifting SGA more to his natural combo position. Lou Dort, career high in rebounds with 11. Kenrick Williams, career high in assists with 10. Just dominant performance. Shout out to former 76ers, Isaiah Joe, and Doc Rivers' greatness shown through last night, matching a career high, 7 for 12 from deep, 23 points, going 2 for 2 from the line. It is a mixed match, team of pieces. They have slid into the back end of the Western Conference due to other teams' injuries. Buy or sell, though, the Oklahoma City Thunder as a dangerous threat to the Western Conference in the second half of the season. We'll get to that. The other blowout that we'll cruise through, because this was even worse than the Pacers one, Jazz and Clippers was a fiasco for Los Angeles. No Kawhi, No Paul George, not a chance. There you go. That was the game. If you want to know anything else about that, just go watch the highlights of Marcus Morris Sr., and you'll realize there are no highlights of Marcus Morris Sr. because that's how bad the game was. There you go. Last game, that was a blowout, but this one was actually rather interesting. More so for me to see Miami kind of click into who they can be. The Heat absolutely throttled the Pelicans without Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, 124-98. JFK spoke about it a little bit earlier. We're going to go ahead and give him another 60 seconds to 2 minutes to dive a little bit more deep into Miami. I'm going to go ahead and break down some New Orleans Pelicans. Then after that, we only have two to talk about. We'll talk about Jokic supremacy for a little bit, and then we're going to close out on the Bean team beating the bad boys of the Staples Center, where the crypt holds what is the mediocrity that has become the Los Angeles Lakers. JF, about 2 minutes on the clock, break down this Heat win. And look, a lot of people aren't going to like to hear it, but like that Miami culture thing is legit. They have grinded their way now to 4 games above 500, and they're looking like they're not going to back down. What you got?
Yeah, Chris. I still think that's not good enough for the fans of the NBA. I don't know what they're looking for Miami to be successful, but for a whole bunch of undrafted free agents who are about to get traded, I think the organization has done a good job off their value of what they got in return to what they're about to get. So it looks good. Bam continues his MVP. I wouldn't say MVP, but his All-Star conversation to go ahead and get that nod with 26 points last night in only 31 minutes. The good thing about it is nobody passed 35 minutes besides Caleb Martin, and I think he was just trying to get his legs back. He finished with 10 points. Jimmy had 18. But the most important thing is Struce and Gabe Vincent and Oladipo. These are our 3 main guys to come off the bench, and what you saw last night was a fully healthy Heat squad, so we don't have to sacrifice any of our bench points. One thing about Bam, he's actually leading everybody in scoring inside the paint. He only took like 1 3-pointer this year, but he has like about 883 points inside the paint, more than anybody in the league right now. We are now top 5 in defensive rating. And we are also in the top 10 of free throws. So a lot of these signs are pointing to what we needed to do was stay consistent on our shooting and the things that we need to go ahead and execute instead of just making a whole bunch of threes. So last night, I think our defense showed up, and that's what we saw mostly. So it's always good when your superstars can rest in the fourth quarter. So a great win. I think just because we aren't playing these superstars, we're able to figure it out on a little easier level. So we play New Orleans again, I think on the weekend. So I'm looking forward for that and just continue this winning streak because we got a lot of people that are catching up.
All right, man, that was perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, shoot JFK a follow here, coming on board as our first additive of Miami Heat breakdowns with Miami Heat in 5 with JFK. After the game, we'll get it to JP, the franchise, who gets it to the YouTube channel. And we're going to actually start, once we get a couple more people, being able to give this out here live on the timeline and on the website so that you can always have some basketball discourse. So shout out to JFK for taking the step up. And if you're down below, or if you're even on stage, and you like a team, let's say the Golden State Warriors or the Sacramento Kings, and you want to say, you know what? I've seen now that HoopSpaces has done this for almost 2 whole seasons. He's grown. He's done this. Maybe I actually want to try something because he makes it seem like it's so damn easy. And then I do because for you, it will be that easy. Hey, all it takes is 5 to 8 minutes in your phone, and we'll get you set up. Like, JF, am I lying here? Because I don't think I am.
Not at all. You're actually correct.
All right. So there you go. And we can add your voice to the discourse and get eyes on to your content. And then who knows where it goes from there, because a lot of people have come through here chasing their own individual dreams and have met a measure of success. The Pelicans have a problem. And I actually started talking about this problem when Brandon Ingram kind of went down and has had an elongated recovery time. And the issue is when they don't have either Zion or Brandon, there's no clear number 2. CJ's the de facto one when both of these guys are out, and he played as such. with 21 points, going 8 for 7. And you know what? Shout out to him. A lot of people complain that he shoots the team out of the game when both the guys are out. He did phenomenally well, 5 for 9 from deep. He was 8 for 17 from the floor. But Najee Marshall, who I love, undrafted, a real heady player. I put a tweet out and people were jumping on me a little bit, saying, "Is he the next Jimmy Butler?" I'm not backing down. 12 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, but he was 4 for 13. And there were a couple of times when he really should have deferred to Jonas, who had inside position, or actually Devontae Graham, who had a couple of open 3-point attempts when they were on the floor at the same time. Likewise, Jonas was 8 for 11, 18 and 10. And I think they could have done a better job of maybe taking him out and actually keeping him in more so when Bam was out, to try to give him a little bit of an extra bump in terms of rebounding and controlling the tempo. He actually led the game in reboundings, but you wouldn't really think so if you had watched it. And finally, Dyson Daniels, every bit as good as advertised in terms of potential. He's still going to take a couple of years, I think, really to lock into his pro game. There you go. That is what I saw last night on the Pelicans side, as they got trounced in Nova, routed at home by the Miami Heat, 124-98. So there are your three major blowouts from last night. We got the Nuggets and Timberwolves next. We'll close out with Lakers and Kings. Nuggets 122, T-Wolves 118. T-Wolves are done. Yes? Are we all in agreement here?
They've been cooked. Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
cooked.
All right. I'm just asking.
Define cooked.
They have zero shot of making it to the second round.
Yes, they are cooked.
All right. So then we'll move on to the Denver Nuggets, who have the two-time MVP, likely to be three-time, Nikola Jokic, 14th triple-double of the season, 31 points, 11 boards, 13 assists, only 3 turnovers, perfect from the line, 7 for 7, 12 for 20 from the from the floor. I ask again, somebody please tell me why he's not the MVP. Jamal Murray was good. Good Murray showed up, 28 points, 10 for 18. Bruce Brown might fight his way into the best free agent pickup of the offseason. 7 for 11, 16 points, and his continued versatility just is what Denver needs. If KCP struggles, he can play shooting guard. If Michael Porter Jr. struggles, he can play power forward or shooting guard, because I don't know what Michael Porter Jr. is any longer. If Aaron Gordon struggles, he can play power forward. Perfect Swiss Army knife. So shout out Bruce Brown, University of Miami product. If you watched the game, you want to add anything, now's the time. If not, we're going to go ahead and move over to the game that everybody does want to talk about, and that is the Sacramento Kings lighting the beam. But we'll go first to Jay the Wakandan on his thoughts from last night's game with the Denver Nuggets.
No, I was raising my hand when you talking about Jokic, and why he's not MVP.
Okay, yeah, well,
Uh,
that's fine. You
and
can
it's
tell
just
us why you're wrong.
it's just fatigue. It's just fatigue. That's the only reason people will give you. The Laker King game was exhibit A, B, C, D, and E of why the Lakers shouldn't trade the picks. Um, I appreciated you reading Buddy Hield's stat line, because that's the same Buddy Hield that people wanted to trade not one, but 2 first round picks for.
Yes,
Um,
although you were getting
along,
Miles Turner too.
yeah, what was Miles Turner's stat line again against OKC,
I'm
who
just
started a
saying,
6'6"
you
center?
would put him next to Anthony Davis.
Miles Turner against a 6'6" center went 20 minutes, 3 for 4, 3 rebounds against one of the worst rebounding teams in the
Well,
league.
to be fair, it was a 6'9" center last night.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, that makes it better. Um, no assists, 6 blocks, 4 turnovers, 4 shots, 4 turnovers, 2 fouls, and all of 7 points. Winton Gabriel, on the other hand, had a much better stat line against a much better team. So, like, yeah. So I watched this game and I was like, Genie and Palinka are right. This team doesn't need to mortgage 2 picks to make this team a threat to the 9 seed. This team needs to just continue doing what it's doing. And in the summer, I would argue, needs to shop LeBron James and Anthony Davis and rebuild. And I know Mike is ready to yell.
All right. Well, we'll go to Micah first, clear Micah out, and then we'll go to Mike from the OC. We got Dime Dropper of Dimes Bank, Locked On Clips. You got to follow him. Dude's going to be taking off sometime this year into NBA stardom. Micah, you beat Mike from the OC with the hand. What you got? And then we'll go to Mike from OC after we reset, break down some numbers of the Kings and Lakers.
Okay, so I just wanted to touch on one thing that you were saying. Look, as a Mavericks fan, as a Luka Doncic fan, I would love to tell you that he has a better pace. But at the end of the day, we got to keep it a buck. He is one game behind the best record of the NBA, right? Is there one player on the Denver Nuggets? Yes, their roster building is a lot better. It's way better than ours, especially. However, at the end of the day, is there one player on the Denver Nuggets that is getting an all-star nod this season?
Other than Jokic, no.
So there's your answer. That is why he is MVP, because not only is he pretty much with the best record in the NBA, one game behind, but the fact that he's doing it as a lone all-star, that is his reason. That's his case. There's everybody else that now the Mavericks, I don't see them getting it if they fall into if they is able to be a top 4 seed. Yes, I give Luka the nod. However, if you look at anybody else that he's competing against outside of Luka, every single one of those guys have an all-star co-star, if not some form of all-NBA team.
I'm gonna hate to tell you, Micah, just like I'm gonna hate to tell every Maverick fan. I think it would take Luka having to get to number 2, if not number 1 now. Because the thing that Luka had was just the pure production domination. He's no longer that dominant in the producing of stats. Jokic is caught up. Tatum is actually also right behind him. The difference between Tatum and Luka and Jokic, you did point out pretty clearly, which is also a reason why Tatum was not in the top 2, is Tatum has Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is an all-star. And if the Boston Celtics didn't have Jason Tatum, we would be talking about Jaylen Brown like we're talking about Jason Tatum. So there you go. All right, 116-111 at Staples Center, where the crypt that was the that is the mediocrity of Los Angeles Lakers basketball, who's fast becoming the second professional basketball team in Los Angeles. If the Clippers,
Chris, good
goodness. The Clippers are. I mean, like they're trying to catch up to y'all, but like right now, y'all stink.
All right, hold on. We do stink, but in no way, no shape, no form will that lowly organization, the Buffalo Braves, San Diego Clippers, LA Clippers, ever match Los Angeles Lakers. We could go 0-82 for 10 seasons. They'll still have no fans. I can't tell you how much they mean nothing here in Southern California. Absolutely zero. So you need to know that around.
I understand what you're saying.
Even listen. We're bad, but what are they doing out here? They are a pathetic organization.
Wait, but they have a better record.
They're a bunch of bum asses.
What are you doing?
The city. They are so stupid and irrelevant. I can't even begin to tell you how much I don't even despise them. I'm embarrassed by them to be in the same building as us.
You know what it is?
What's funny?
You're just mad that the Clippers got the good Pat Bev years, and you stuck with Pat Bev now.
Chris, this team is horrendous. They can't put 2 dudes on the court. At least when we're healthy, we got guys out there. You got Kawhi City, you got Paulson. They're just pathetic, but whatever. They're not doing anything as usual. They're not getting.
Pat Bev scored 3 more points than Kawhi, and Kawhi didn't even suit up.
They should be embarrassed. Adam Silver should fine them about $1 million. Get their ass out of this league. They are so pathetic. I mean, it's
Troy
funny.
Brown scored 4 more points than
That's what
PG.
I'm saying. Kawhi should just hang it up, get out to San Diego State where he went to school, enjoy it out there. He's got a condo out there in San Diego. I know some people that know Kawhi. He's a good dude. Just retire, get the hell out of basketball already. He's not ready to go. But anyhow, let's go back to the Lakers real quick. Just real quick. I went to the game Sunday. I was in the building for Sixers Lakers. First of all, there's no better place to see a basketball game than Staple Crypto Center Forum.com. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It is fantastic. The way they put on is fantastic. I've been there in a few years. They dropped the hologram thing down. You got Kobe on the hologram. You look up and you see all those banners, Chris. I see all those beautiful banners, all those titles, all the greatest players ever. And I'm thinking, where I was there. I was experiencing those years at the Forum. I was there during Showtime. I was there every goddamn step of the way since 70. And then I look on the court. It's like, what's wrong with this picture? And you have arguably the greatest player, one of the top 3 players ever, out there with other dudes just trying to make this work. It's an imbalanced roster. It is embarrassing coaching, by the way, by Darvin Ham lately. He is not living up to the Lakers standards. Let's just take last night's game, for instance, by the way. After Kendrick Nunn made that 3, why didn't they foul right away? They waited till the guys in the open court. It was horrendous. This is all falling on Darvin Ham on that. The roster, of course, is not Darvin's fault. That's Palinka, and that's Genie, and that's the Ramby. That's Tim Harris, head of ticketing. Listen, it is such a mess. I haven't felt this confused maybe ever, because usually we have a good front office or a good team, right, or a good coach. We don't have anything. We don't have anything right now. It is such confusion there, and everybody's sitting on their hands. I don't understand what the hell's going on. I guess we're going to just let this slide. I don't expect to move. We need AD back to even be competitive. We can't defend. We could score. We cannot defend.
You can't even score.
No. We're the leading scoring team in January. Did you know that?
Well,
Did you know that?
Your bench is maybe.
Like, we can't shoot. No.
Your bench with LeBron is.
As a team, we've scored more points than anybody in January. I saw it last night.
I understand what you're saying, but like it's just it's smoke and mirrors, man. It's smoke and mirrors.
Why is 19-year-old Max Christie, who's going to be good, expected to friggin' guard De'Aaron Fox down the stretch? You don't do that to a rookie.
Well, who's gonna guard him?
That's the problem.
Who's gonna guard him? Dennis Schroeder?
That's the problem. It's amazing how this team blows a lead. They're up by like 12, 13 cruising. You go to the bathroom, get something, you come back, they're losing by 12. I mean, their defense is horrific at times. They cannot finish a game with their life dependent on it.
Let me get some other people in here.
Anyhow, that's what I got to say. I got to it. Listen, it ain't good, but you know what? The whole conference sucks pretty much, except for a couple of teams. So, I guess we'll hang around for a while, see what happens.
Don't go anywhere, because I want to ask about some Lakers trades with you, but I got hands up and I want to make sure that I get through everybody. We've got a couple of Lakers fans up here, and then we got Dime Dropper who covers the Lakers and the Clippers, so we'll get them. We'll go first to the other Lakers fan right off the gate with his hand up. We'll go to Jada Wakandon. We'll go to Anthony. We'll go to Malika. And we'll get Dime Dropper in here, and then we're going to run a couple of trades through Mike from the OC and Dime Dropper. Anthony, take it away.
Come get Cam Reddish, Mike. Come on.
I give a shit.
Come get him.
Shit. I know this. Shit.
You want 2 first-round picks for it.
You ain't getting no. Look, you ain't getting a first-round pick for Cam Reddish. Stop it.
I said 2 second rounds. 2
all
seconds.
Right.
That's all we want. 2 seconds.
You might get that. Jada Wakandon, go.
Magic, a.k.a. Irvin, a.k.a. Buck, is so beloved in L.A. that when people mention this horrendous roster construction, they never mention Magic. It was Magic Johnson that decided that he was going to let Julius Randle, an All-NBA performer, walk away for free. It was Magic Johnson who decided to trade Zubac, a top 15-ish starting center, trading him away to the Clippers for a pack of bubble gum and an expired oil change coupon. It was Magic Johnson who pulled the trigger on the AD trade.
Which that's the title.
So when you he won the title, that's fair. But the thing is, when you say this is a horrendous roster construction, I find it hilarious that our beloved in some people's minds, the greatest Laker of all time just gets to walk away with Teflon and nothing sticks. Because a lot of this, 80% of this roster, lays at the feet of Irvin, Buck, Magic Johnson.
Wait a minute. I got to ask Wakanda real quick. Okay, we got AD. We won the title. We broke up the team. Was that Magic's fault? We won a
Yes,
goddamn title with Caruso and KCP. Magic's
yes,
done.
yes, that's
Was
Magic's
that
fault.
his fault after we pretty
Yes,
much shipped everybody off?
Technically, yes,
yes,
because the cap
yes.
situation Magic left didn't allow enough room to re-sign Caruso and anybody else.
Did they have to get Russell?
They
They were
didn't.
trying to overcorrect from a
That was a
situation
trade.
from
Yeah,
a Magic. Magic left them in a boat
yeah.
where
That was a trade, and cap wise, Mike had no impact on the re-signing of the players. They could have re-signed the players had the cap not been jacked up, and then completed the trade.
She could have went over the cap if she wanted to keep everybody together.
That too. Finish up, Jay. Get your thoughts in here, and then we'll go to Malika, then Dime.
oh no, that's it. Shout out to Dime Dropper. When he listens to this episode before he came to the room, I'm sorry. I did say my hot take is that the Clippers should blow it up, but we've talked about that on the TL. It's not coming from a hate standpoint. This I've told this to Dime in a tweet. You know, watching the Clippers is like watching the F1 team trying to win a championship, but they know they're going to have to change the engine out between qualifying and the actual race
Mm,
every
that's a
race of
good
a season.
analogy. It's a good analogy, man. New poll: who's more to blame for the Lakers roster woes? Man, that was a hard one. Magic Johnson or Rob Pelinka? No, I did not add LeBron James because I know some of you down there are going to say LeBron James, and it's not. It's not. We'll go to Malika Walker, the Rewind Pod. Malika, your thoughts on anything that just happened with the Lakers, because we're still talking Lakers, despite the fact that the Kings played an awesome game last night.
I was going to ask some of what Jay the Wakandan asked about the roster construction and the cap, because out of all the owners, Jeannie is not a billionaire, right? Even MJ is a billionaire. So she is like the least wealthy majority owner, right? Who is going to, so, and she's her staying within a cap. I get, she doesn't want to go too far over. Makes sense. Do you give LeBron any blame for wanting Russ so bad with that contract he had? I'm just curious.
No, that was just Jay the Wakandan. I know I don't.
No, I'm talking to Mike.
Yeah. Oh, Mike. Okay, Mike. What are your thoughts on LeBron James bringing in Westbrook? We'll get your thoughts. We got HoopSpaces Ryan. We got Sam Spalding, then Dime Dropper as well. Go ahead, Mike.
Sure. You know, and we don't
Jeannie's
know.
owner being not, being not as financially solvent as the other owners too.
Ultimately, I can't speak. Hold on. Let me clear my throat. I'm choking like the Lakers. Ultimately, it's up to the management, right? He can make suggestions. Listen, he doesn't pull the trigger. Yeah, he's under contract, so whatever. So yeah, it probably wasn't a fantastic move. You know, they panicked. They wanted that third star, etc. But listen, I don't know who's running. You know, Chris, you were quick to say that this is Rob Pelinka. We don't. I could probably bet a lot on this that this is by committee. Rob's power is minimal. Jeannie, it's a tight freaking group. It's Jeannie, it's Rob, it's the Rambuses, it's Magic on the phone. The Laker organization's run like a mom and pop shop, like I told you before, and it's a global brand. It's mom and pop, but it's a global brand. It ain't a lot of people. It ain't a lot of it's committee members.
You're making it sound like the
she
mafia.
Depends on her friends. She's known Linda Rambis since '79, right? It's her best friend. Best friend. The LA Strings, when Jerry bought the LA Strings and the Forum and the Kings. I'm telling you, this relationship is just like great friendships. She's so dependent on these people. And
you're making it sound like the mob. Like that's all you're doing.
That's exactly probably how it is. It's a tight list. Listen, when Jerry was here, it was Jerry West. Jerry made the decisions. Ran it by Dr. Buss. Sounds good. Go for it. Now it's like, we don't know what's going on. So Rob's actual authority is probably minimal. To tell you the
All
truth,
right.
he doesn't have the
Well,
bottom line.
let me get HoopSpaces Ryan. Let me get Sam in here, and then we're gonna close out with 5 minutes with Dime Dropper, host of Dimes Bank and Locked On Clips. We'll go to Ryan first. Ryan, what are your thoughts as we're talking? Some Lakers ball here that's just putrid right now.
All right, I just put something up on the big board. It's there's a Twitter handle called Man Games Lost NBA, and it plots something a little complicated, the value over replacement player metric, and it takes how many games were lost based on that metric and kind of figures out which team has lost the most wins in the season so far. Hopefully that's not too complicated of an algorithm or formula for everyone here, but if you look at this plot, I find it kind of interesting that Sacramento has lost the least amount of wins over the season. Basically, they've been the healthiest. On the far right of this plot, Orlando has lost the most amount of wins. Not really a big deal. You can see though in the middle right that Miami, Charlotte, Cleveland, Memphis, and of course the Lakers. We know the injury woes of the Lakers this season. The Lakers have lost a significant amount of wins due to the value over replacement player of the injured player, in this case Anthony Davis, plus LeBron missing games, plus look at the Lakers have been missing a lot of their starting rotation here. Based on that and combining it with where the Lakers are currently sitting, which I see them 3 games back in the loss column of the 5 spot. Now I'm not just looking at games back, I'm just looking at 3 losses back of the 5 spot. We can talk about poor roster construction. We can talk about all of these other things, but really, to me, the Lakers are just injured. They're dealing with injuries, and that has massively derailed this season. It's actually derailed a lot of seasons. Look at the Suns. Look at I don't need to go team by team, but when we went game by game today, Chris had to say the Pelicans without Brandon Ingram and Zion, the X team without blah blah blah. For a long time, it was the Warriors without Steph. It's the Clippers without Paul George and Kawhi. And when teams go without their stars, of course, bad things happen and they're not winning as much as they should. So I'm not sure I'm going to place all of this blame on roster construction and blah, 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 and all that. Sometimes people just can't stay healthy. And sometimes it's a fluke. Sometimes people are injury prone. But I think we got to look a lot more at the health and availability of players, which I have another topic I'd like to talk about one day about why that's not getting better with the increased science and everything we have now. But I'd like to point squarely at why isn't health and availability being talked about more for all of these teams and not just the Lakers, because it's a lot of teams out there, and how close they are to the 5 and 6 seed with the value over replacement player man games lost number being so low for the Lakers. I'm kind of curious what everybody
I could see that. The SVG tweet, the Stan Van Gundy tweet, I was going to bring that up tomorrow, Ryan. So we can definitely talk about the health aspect tomorrow. I think the issue that I have with this argument is it doesn't really take into account the fact that Darvin Ham is not that great of a defensive coach, and the Lakers are just not that great of a defensive team, even if Anthony Davis is healthy. Like they're giving up the most points in the game right now, like almost 120. I think they're like at 118
and they're
now.
missing the best
Uh,
defensive player, defensive player
but
of the
but
year caliber, and we can't deny he absolutely changes the defensive
Right.
stats.
well,
That's
yeah, but
true.
you go from 118 to 114.8, you're still on the outside of the top 6.
Exactly. That's true. And even with AD in there, we're still under 500. And they were better, but we still weren't that good. Right. I mean, once the games, but we still are not where we need to be. So he's going to improve it from worse to mid, but it's probably still not enough.
I
Let's
agree
be
it's
honest.
not enough.
It might be enough to make the playoffs, but it ain't championship level.
But
Yeah,
we're
but like
3 losses
when we're
behind.
actually having,
3 losses behind the
I
5
get you.
seed.
but
Right.
like,
But there's a
see,
lot
the
of teams
thing is,
between
it's
us,
like,
but there's a lot of teams between us and the 5 seed. It ain't like 2
no,
teams. So there's a lot of teams, and I'm with you. I always look at the standings too. I always look at the loss column. That's all I care about is the loss column. I get it, but we can't get. We keep
no,
going
I,
one
I
step forward,
can't
2
just,
steps back, 1 step forward, and these other teams. Listen, we can
but
have
like
4
Mike,
teams under
like
500 in
I
the play-in
can't
game.
just, Mike, like I can't just look at it and the actuals. So like I have to actually watch the games, and then
Yeah.
the understanding of actually watching the games and seeing who everybody is playing for and why they're playing and how they're playing and everything like that. So like right now, like when Anthony Davis went out and when he was down and they knew that he was down, then
Mhm.
LeBron in his 20th season had to do way more than he's expected to do. So the team in my aspect and in my understanding is kind of like hanging on by a thread because
Yeah.
when you look at that in its entirety, like LeBron is doing something in his 20th season that no player in NBA history has ever been asked to do. And he's holding up the bill, until Anthony Davis and everything that we have. And then like you ask players to do things that they've never been asked to do. So like I actually think on the other side of that, even though the X's and O's may not necessarily say it, but like the X's and O's of Darvin Ham being the coach, he got, Russ to buy into a role that nobody thought that Russ would ever buy into. And showing that it showed like a different kind of productivity that Russ could actually have. And for us to, as a Laker fan, to be sitting in the spot that we're in, it actually like it's asinine. And
Yeah.
it's very hard to like
Yeah.
wrap your mind around because it doesn't make sense. Because yes, we are in striking distance, and then once everything is healthy, then we become a scary team because now all of the principles and everything that have been put into the team now can have the time to actually ferment and turn into everything that is. So like I would not strike the Lakers out for any measure of like because you don't want to see them in certain situations. But at the same time, like going forward, this is not like a foreseeable thing. So like we're just buying time and we're just hoping on just being fortuitous and like like our luck just kind of like having the luck of the Irish kind of like conversation. It's like, yeah, like we may or we may not be in the conversation because it really just hinges on a couple of things. And I don't want to speak those things because I don't have no wooden table to knock on that I'm close to. But
I'll knock
Yeah.
for you.
But that's the way it's been the
it's
last
just
couple of
a
years, right?
it's a
Yeah.
very real thing. But at the same time, like
Yeah.
when I look at like you know the Rambis and I also look at the organization with the Buzz family, like when they bet on having another championship, LeBron gave them what they asked for. He gave them the championship. So he already has done his thing. So like really like what is he playing for? He's playing for himself. He's playing to supersede and it's hard for me to have this conversation and being like Kobe is my favorite player that's ever played the game of basketball. It's hard to have that conversation when I'm thinking about LeBron James actually surpassing Kareem Abdul as the, highest scoring, et cetera, et cetera. But like all of these things are playing out at the same time and they're playing out in real time and it's real. And I have to deal with it, because
Well,
even like it's
well,
tough for me.
Oh me.
I want to add in
Oh
something you
me.
have to deal with as a Lakers fan as well. The Lakers starters, ladies and gentlemen, last night they scored a total of 52 points. The Lakers bench
Really,
outscored
Chris? That's
the
what you're gonna do?
starters. We're
That's what
gonna
you're gonna do,
go.
Chris?
Hmm.
Yes, we're gonna go to Dime
Painful.
Dropper
Painful.
to come into this conversation as an outside objective voice of LA sports here. Dime, you cover both the Clippers and the Lakers. The Lakers last night, zero excuses from the starting lineup, not named LeBron James, as they combined for 20 points. It was just god awful to watch. If you did watch the game, Sacramento looked phenomenal. If you look up top, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, the Sacramento Kings currently lead the NBA in scoring at 119.9 per game. If you did not know, spread the word so others can know that the Kings are for real. Without Demontis Sabonis, the Aaron Fox led him with 31 and 6. Kevin Herter had 18 points and 8 assists. You had Rashawn Holmes off of the scrap heap of the bench, giving you a double double, 16 and 11. Keegan Murray with a double double, 10 and 10. And even Harrison Barnes got him scoring actions with 20 points. That's how Sacramento beat Los Angeles. But Dime, going to you. You missed part of the Clippers talk. I'm going to let you go ahead and get some bashing in. You had a great Locked On Clips episode breaking down just basically the embarrassing loss. You've been pretty candid about it. Let's bring that candid eye also to the Lakers. What you got? Good afternoon. Good morning.
Morning, Chris. I actually only caught the fourth quarter. I've been meaning to start watching full Laker games again. And I thought it was I think the Lakers just for not just this year, but last year have had a lot of problems closing out games. I don't know if it's because Braun gets tired or the other. My bad. I got a call. Hear me now?
Yeah, I was about to say, and that's what we call a
Yeah.
phone call,
Can you
ladies
hear
and
me
gentlemen.
now?
Yep, we got you.
But other than that, I also think De'Aaron Fox is a lot of the games I've seen from him this year. He does a good job closing. The Kings have done a much better job closing games this year. But I also think it's what Ryan said. Like it feels like when AD's not there, especially to end games, it feels like it's either has to be LeBron creating the shot. No, basically, yeah, that's it. LeBron either shooting the shot or creating the shot. The defense is always going to just load up excessively on him and force these other guys to shoot the ball because their shooters are just not reliable. And I think LeBron made some really nice passes, honestly. But also like Westbrook's shot selection at the end of games. I know we've been having this conversation for over a decade now. I love the guy, but some of the decisions he makes are so like for a veteran player to make appalling. But I think as Ryan said, I think the Lakers, honestly, I wouldn't give up just yet. I think if AD comes back or when AD comes back, if they can just string together a couple of games, they'll be right back in the mix because this West is just very, there's a lot of parity going on. So I think that the Lakers still have a chance to make the play-in
All
or
right.
something. The top six is maybe a little far-fetched, but I had them ninth before the season, so I think they'll finish in the play-in. And then they can try to make the playoffs from there.
What are your thoughts here on the Clippers as they also have seemingly found the struggle bus, so to speak, and it's not looking any
You sure you
better.
want to do that?
But you know what?
Ask me about them?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, look, I've loved your Locked On Clips episodes as of late, as the Clippers have just gone thinking like they're just
Well,
like.
I think that I've been a Clipper fan this is my 18th season. And of all of the seasons, by far, this one is the most depressing and most frustrating. Worse than when we were 19 and 63, I swear. Because at least you don't expect a thing. If shit is all you know, then that's just what it is. It's not that bad. That's just what you know. No. This is awful. This like I had to
Kawhi
sit
wasn't the
there.
savior, huh?
I had to sit there before the season and heard the great Jerry West talk about how the goals of this roster. I had listened to Paul George at the forum before the season talk about the seriousness and focus of this roster. This organization from the top down has not taken this regular season seriously. They have this arrogance that they can waltz into the playoffs no matter what record they have, and everyone's going to be frightened of us. Nobody's been scared of the Clippers in 52 years. So what makes you think they're going to begin now when our two best players don't play consistently? They can't play 10 straight games. They can't. And then there's another issue. Ty Lue's not had the best season because it's been a wing-heavy roster, and he's leaned into very heavy guard lineups. So now that you're hearing the front office coming out in rumors with Shams reporting that they're looking for a trade, and John Wall's name is on the table, that tells you that the front office is saying we made a mistake. We didn't need John Wall. Is exactly what I said before we signed him. That I was a little concerned because we have a lot of good players. Everyone wants a shot creator. The shot creator in today's game needs to be respected to create his own shot first. Or else teams are just going to go underneath screens and do all that like they do with John. And I respect John. But he and Reggie Jackson probably shouldn't play when everyone's healthy. Marcus Morris is starting to also fall into that category. If you cannot contribute to the game when you're not hitting shots, you are going to struggle to find good minutes on a championship contender. That's just how it's going to be. And what I don't like too quick, Chris, is the amount of times we as an organization quit in games. We got absolutely embarrassed by Denver 2 weeks ago on national television. Embarrassed. to the point where Paul George and Kawhi sit the whole second half, and then we have a back-to-back the next night, and they sit again. We talk about punting games, losing, just going into games knowing you're going to lose. Why should I care more than you? You don't give a shit. You guys don't care. I can't even. Oh my god, I'm actually gonna lose it. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. These guys are an embarrassment. I honestly, if this season crashes and burns, I can't wait till these guys pack their bags. I can't wait. I'd rather watch Brandon Boston, Terrence Mann lose 50 games a season and actually play their hearts out than this. And I don't think Kawhi and Paul George are like completely at fault, but whoever's in charge of the decisions to lets these guys play or doesn't needs to grow a pair and say, you know what? If they get hurt on the court, that's just sports. Because I miss when Chris Paul and Blake Griffin used to get hurt every season, but actually going hard in the regular season and getting injured, because that's what happens when you play sports at a high level. Sometimes you just get hurt. This cautious approach to win 42 games and then get bounced probably, oh my God, it's a drag. But anyway, that's all I got.
The Dimes Bank is back. You missed it yesterday. Make sure you shoot Dime here a follow. He had
Tell
an
us how you
emergency
really
bank
feel.
session. Man, that was dope. I am telling you now, you gotta shoot him a follow. Check him out on the Dime Dropper Pod. It's on YouTube and where all your podcasts pod. Also on Locked On Clips. Man, that was phenomenal. That
Thanks,
was
Chris.
good. Absolutely. Look, you like basketball. I like basketball. This is for the people down below. Do us the favor. The review is there, right? All you have to do is sign up for it. It's completely free. If you click on it, it'll take you to this handy dandy website link where you can choose to support monetarily if you want to, right? That's the ask. If you want to just get the newsletter, by all means, just click on the free because that helps us as well as we try to grow one day here at a time. We're going to do a quick round of the horn here. We'll go around to the four corners, get the last take. Everybody will get 30 seconds. We'll go to Rare first. Rare, Dominic, go ahead. 30 seconds, go.
I don't know if it's too early, but I think the Hawks finally got it figured out. We'll see. We'll see, but I think the Hawks got to figure out. I think they got the front office together, but we've seen this before, so we'll see how long it lasts, and we'll go from there.
All right. Hawks with the 4-game win streak, the longest of the season. Took them 44 games to get here. Micah, 30 seconds, go.
Mm. Last second of the day. The Lakers' real issue is Nick Young, a.k.a. Swaggy P, is not walking through those doors. Last second of the day.
Boy, they could use some swag right now, too. That was a good one. Point to Micah. Sam, my brother from another, on the ones and twos. 30 seconds, go.
Man, like
That one
I'm
hurt,
just
huh?
yeah, that did hurt. All of it. Like it was just tough, man. Like, but in a lot of ways I agree with, what was said. But like you got me at a loss, man.
Swaggy P ain't coming through those doors. HoopSpaces
No, he
Ryan,
ain't.
with the founder. We have to keep saying this loud and proud. The founder of the cardio rankings. If you start seeing some of this stuff pop up, like let us know
Ryan is the man.
because
Ryan,
he is the
Ryan, it's good
man.
to hear your voice, bro. Like I'm glad to hear you again.
It's good to
You
hear
should
you too,
you
Sam.
should yeah, so you should jump on more often, but like you the man, bro.
Thank you, Sam. It's good to see you. My last take of the day is going to be based on what's up in the jumbotron right now. The Shams tweet about the All-Star returns. If I am a player on a small market team, I struggle to look at Russell Westbrook and Austin Reeves having higher fan returns than Devin Booker, and I think long and hard about joining a small market team as a superstar. And I wonder how long Devin Booker, for example, is going to be in Phoenix. That's all I got to say.
Like that. I think he's out of Phoenix for entirely different reasons. That's just me. Jay the Wakandan, the Memphinian Laker, the Los Angelonian. What do you call people from Los Angeles?
Los Angelinos.
Los Angelino Grizzlies fan. Final take, 30 seconds.
Final take. Taylor Jenkins is probably going to be Ja Morant's Doug Collins. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I did not expect that.
Wow, that was
Wow.
deep. Wow, didn't see that one coming.
This man has no like for Taylor Jenkins as the head coach for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm over here keep trying to tell him, like, yo, the dude's a good coach. You just don't like him. Dime
Top
dropper,
5
final take.
developmental coach in the NBA. He is. He's top 5 developmental coach in the
Bro,
NBA.
Doug Collins? That is just mean.
All right, let
It's
me
like
ask you this.
Nancy
That's
Let me
Kerrigan.
being a
ask you this.
Bulls
Let
fan.
me ask you this. Even if they pulled the trade off today, do you think the Grizzlies have a better chance with Taylor Jenkins at the helm or Nick Nurse?
Doc Rivers would have been the correct answer. Dime dropper, final take.
Final take is that the Clippers only have one back-to-back from now until the beginning of March. So if those fools can't play every game till beside that back-to-back, well, we're gonna have to have some tough conversations at the end of the season.
I already have 23 and 24. If they don't play the majority of the games, they run the risk of being usurped by a surging Lakers, Suns, or Trailblazers squad.
Oh, yeah.
Nasty work. Oh, man, if the Lakers do this to you, never going to hear the end of it either.
I mean, I really am not concerned about the back and forth with them anymore. I mean, at this point, neither of us are going to do much this season the way it looks. And, Laker fans aren't ones to brag about participation trophies. At least I don't
Good
think.
point. There is one thing that the Los Angeles Clippers could have used that would definitely help.
Don't say the D word or the G word.
The D word or the G word? What is that? Dog?
No, Glenn.
Who?
Next.
Doc Rivers.
That's why I said G and a G. Is that what you're going to say?
Look, man, I can't help it. The man has 60% winning percentage.
It's because
He's great.
he always coaches these stacked rosters that you would have a 55% win percentage with. If you
I
would
would I probably would. You're not lying. You are not lying, but that's how much better he is. Malika Walker, host of the Rewind Pod. You can check it out. Follow her. It's on the timeline. Great conversation about Grant Hill. We talked about Grant a little bit in terms of most unpopular NBA takes because that dude saying Grant Hill ain't a Hall of Famer. That was wild. Malika, last take.
Last take. I'm looking at these. And I know we always complain about fan voting, and I don't know if this is controversial or not. But Anthony Davis being number 3 in the West, how many games has he played? I know Laker fans voted for him. Great, but he should not be there. But I'm looking at these returns, and Shea, and I always don't know how to say his name right. He's in a small market, and he has a lot of votes. So that's Phoenix. Like, like look at. I mean, LaMelo has more votes than Devin Booker. That shouldn't be happening, but it is what it is. I mean, look at Austin Reeves. Even has more. It's just interesting looking at some of these votes. And Derrick Rose is still in the top 10. But
Should Westbrook be above Lillard? I mean, should Westbrook really be above Dame? Let's be honest here.
no,
And listen,
but it's a
You
market.
know what? Can I be honest
Small
that
market
both of them
vote.
probably shouldn't even
Some
be on the
small
list?
markets vote though. Like look at Shea.
Well,
Like
to be fair, SGA is getting help from overseas.
Toronto. That's right. Yeah, he's
He gets Toronto and he gets a lot from Japan. They're like the Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the top teams selling in Japan.
okay.
It's weird, but it's
Okay. That makes more
last
sense.
thing,
But look at LaMelo.
last
LaMelo is in one of the smallest markets that people claim to not even look at, and he's above some of these people.
he's
And he
anointed
should be.
already. He's anointed. Like we'll see LaMelo in every top 10 for like the next decade if he's healthy. Go ahead, Sam.
yeah, like do not slander Michael Jackson ever again. You need
It's
to
not
stop that.
slander.
Period.
It's not
Stop it.
slander. It's not slander.
But
People
real
keep
quick,
using the word
Devin should be
Don't
slander.
come
higher
after
than this
Michael
though.
Jackson. Don't come for Michael Jackson. Just leave him out of your mouth. Talk about something else.
But Devin's been playing longer, and he's been to the finals. I don't, I don't know why he wouldn't be. It's a popularity contest. So let me stop. It's a popularity contest, and that's where we are. It's not about the skill. I'll stop. Never mind. I take back everything I just said.
Yeah, because Kyrie Irving wouldn't be in the All-Star game, right? Because Kyrie.
Kyrie's been playing. What do you mean, Kyrie?
He wouldn't be he wouldn't be if it wasn't a popular vote. He'd be the odd man out. Is all I'm saying.
Skill wise, see, y'all need to stop with the hate of Kyrie.
I'm not hating Kyrie. I'm talking about production.
But what
skill
about
wise? Sure, great. Put him in the skills competition. He hasn't even outproduced Tyrese Halliburton, who's the NBA assist leader and scoring just as much, and out rebounds him and plays better defense.
Well, Kyrie is, whatever.
He doesn't have Trae Young's. He doesn't have Trae Young's volume.
I'm gonna sit this one out. I'm biased about.
Yeah,
Kyrie. I don't deal with Kyrie. I don't deal with Kyrie slander, but he's where he should be. Thank you.
Yeah, I love Kyrie as a player. I love him as a human being. I think he's hilarious and entertaining. I think one of the things that make him and KD click is that they both have a baseline mentality that I share. Like, I share it. And like, I'm cool with it, but I've got no problem telling Kyrie that, yo, you're the last guard in. Not skill, just production. That's it. And to everybody who keeps saying I'm slandering Michael Jackson, here's the quote. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means, because I am not slandering Michael Jackson. So my final take of the day is, once again, 86 is absolutely correct. Like, I'm sorry you don't like it.
No.
He was a far better performer than he was a musician. He learned how to play a bit, and he played it perfectly.
That was a singer poll.
Just
he
stop,
is not 86, Chris.
Just stop. Just stop, man. Just stop.
Jay from BK is slamming down the laughing emoji because he understands my pain.
No, he
he
understands
my pain.
He's laughing at you, not with you.
I'm not laughing. That's the problem. I'm in pain. I'm trying to help people I care about understand that Stevie Wonder is better.
Stevie's one of my favorites all time. I'm not going to contest that one.
Put the music back on.
I won't tell everybody that I got you in the DM either. Although I just told everybody I got you in the DM when it comes to Michael Jackson and another artist. Telling you, objectivity is a B at times, because if you truly heed to it, you have to actually compromise and admit sometimes that you might be wrong, myself included. That happened this morning when my son said, hey, these Wendy's breakfast sandwiches are really good. And I said, no, they're not. I took a bite and I'm like, you know what? I can't tell if this is really good, but now I can tell that every other breakfast sandwich was worse than I thought. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. We've got buku games over the weekend. Not so much tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a Thursday. And Thursdays were a light day. There's 5 games: Detroit, Chicago, Boston, Golden State, Minnesota, Toronto, Phoenix, Brooklyn. And of course, the greatness that is Doc Rivers leads the Philadelphia 76ers into Portland at your nightcap, 10 p.m. Peace out. Blessings to all of you. Do me a favor. Tomorrow, come in and be ready to come up on stage and talk. All of you. It's Friday. It's not like you got that much to do. A new study came out. It showed the facts of the matter. Most people, they're done by 10:27 in the morning on Friday. There you go. Peace out. So good I had to play it twice. Brought to you by slamgoods.com. Head over to slamgoods. Use our promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15%, just like Malika Walker did. Shout out to Malika Walker. Shout out to Jay down below. Picked up a hoodie and supports monthly. If you're in here every day, or if you're listening every day, I do this without getting paid. So any money that you do send goes straight to making content. And I'm telling you now, like, we have big plans coming up for the second half of the season, as well as getting ready for season 3 That's right, season 3 of HoopSpaces. So make sure you sign up for the Substack, and if you can, please give. All donations are definitely and subscriptions are definitely appreciated. Back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Malika, say something wisdomy.
Love is the key. I have nothing. I don't know what to say here.
That was perfect. By the way, a lot of y'all owe Ben Simmons an apology. Peace.